Nice gap up for the S&P 500. Looks like it wants to continue rallying after a very strong session across the market for some names in particular. Take a look at the Nasdaq here as well, because that of course was the SPY. Nasdaq gapping up too. Nasdaq actually gapping up in an even more significant way because despite some tech weakness, which we'll talk about in a bit, we also have a lot of tech strength. It is worth once again here looking at USO. USO also gapping up here. So you've got a gap up in the USO and the market. We know we've had some comments here from Hamas. We have the Board of Peace trying to make some kind of deal here with Israel and Lebanon. So if we get any more details on that, I will keep you guys posted, of course. But keep an eye here on USO and the markets. Everything gapping up today. Though one notable name isn't. We'll get to that in a second. You've got the tale of two stories once again when it comes to earnings for Make 7 names. You've got Amazon to the upside here, trading higher. Then you have Apple. Apple to the downside. There were some negative elements of this report. Revenue guidance for the next quarter was viewed as a little bit disappointing. We also had certain elements of their revenue that missed, including services revenue, which we know was very carefully watched here by Apple investors. Tons of other earnings in focus today. We had a whole bunch of biotech news as well. Beyond Moderna earnings, you've got NVO, and you also have Replimune. So a couple different ways to play biotech. One to the downside, one very much to the upside. It's a Friday, but it's going to be a very exciting one as well with University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment at 10 a.m. and President Trump speaking at 11. Good morning, Sharif. What a day.
Good morning, Adira. Yes, it is. There's a lot of double-digit movers already here. Good morning, guys. So Apple down -7 2/3. Amazon the exact opposite here, already breaking through 10%, 11.6. And then you have SK Hynix and the chips all very strong this morning. It was very hard to find anything negative on my semiconductor microchip watch list, which is quite extensive. Reddit, oh my days, down 13%. This would already start SSR here. Coinbase down 5 2/3. MSTR kind of flat. I mean, if it didn't really feel like it really reacted to the earnings, but the one that stands out to me the most, RBLX, losing over 20% of its value just in one morning here, guys. We're already down below $40. And you have some other earnings names, you know, single digits. You've got Live Entertainment, Rivian, First Solar, CVX. They're all green to start the morning here. A little bit of red in terms of one of the earnings plays this morning, XOM. They reported earnings 1 1/4 down. Then you have Cameo Corp, shout out to Canada, CCJ. Uranium getting a lot more important as we look for clean energy sources. They're knocking on the door of $100, Adara, up almost 6%.
Yeah, certainly a lot of earnings to discuss and expect a lot of earnings discussion both in our rundown and leading up to the rundown. So if you don't hear the name that you're interested in, stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of really big deal earnings, including the Meg 7s, that will likely be covered during that rundown to make sure we cover as much as we can into that opening bell. I have to talk about the FOMC now. I know this decision was, of course, on Wednesday, but now we're getting some comments coming from Kashkari and Hammock, two of the feds that dissented from the no rate change decision in favor of a 25 basis point hike. You've got Hammock saying that she's not confident that inflation will ease absent action from the Fed. So she's saying she doesn't think it's going to happen on its own and the Fed needs to take action. You also had Kashkari saying that his dissent was strictly because he preferred to raise the rate, which of course is actually what we knew. But he also said that, quote, a series of supply shocks have been responsible in part for inflation. So we've got not just two feds talking right now, but two feds that actually have been very clear that they're a little bit more hawkish right now. So if I get any more details, I'll keep you posted, but keep an eye on these comments here, guys. With all of that, lots of excitement, lots of earnings, economic data, Fed talk. What else could you ask for? We've got Joe and we have Neil covering it. So good morning to both of you. How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Look, it's a great day to look at your account, man.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I mean, from a recovery standpoint, you know what? I'm starting to like Mr. Wars's jib. I don't know.
You like the cut of his jib?
Yeah, I really do, man, because he's looking to decouple from the market. He's not necessarily going to be so data dependent. He's going to follow the trends. And I believe he started off his meeting with like, hey, we only got a couple more of these scheduled. After that, we don't really know what's going to happen. So you may not see any more of that Q&A coming.
But I like the notion of the press conference. I do like when the Fed is communicating well. But what I think is what actually I like about him, go a little bit nerd here, he's a monetarist, and I think that's one of the things that can be sort of overlooked. I feel like a lot of people seem to gloss over the fact that they can tighten other ways. They don't have to raise interest rates. There's other tools out there, and if he leans on those tools first, like the flexibility to say it's not all about interest rates. That gets the headline, but you can trim the balance sheet. But keep in mind, so here's the thing. Amazon's up a bunch today and looking fantastic. Obviously, we already saw Microsoft yesterday. You look at all the chip names going crazy. Everyone's like, you're making enough. Cloud growth is good enough to justify some of the spending. That's what the market's trying to tell you with this bounce here. But let's also try to remember, if the Fed does contract the money supply, implicitly, that is, now obviously this will take some time to roll back. This is nothing about today or anything, but that's the kind of thing that can pump the brakes in a big time way. Like you contract the money supply, let the balance sheet roll over, and do that for an extended period of time, even if you don't have aggressive rate hikes, which we're still going to get some hikes this year according to what we're seeing. That can be a bit of a red flag to maybe stall the rally. That said, there's plenty to look at today that's to like.
Yeah, I mean, stalling of rallies. We had Apple to the downside. I mean, hey, I still like the name regardless of what's going on. Obviously, we know there's some supply issues. Then you also have the increase in memory. But iPhone's still growing at a substantial rate. So, I mean, I think this is a good opportunity to slowly start grabbing some, especially. It's already been outperforming the Nasdaq. It was at an all-time high the other day, and now you're having a little bit of a pullback. We've seen this before. We've seen this narrative, so I don't think it's anything to shy away from at this point, in my opinion.
Oh, I would tend to agree. What people are shying away from is Roblox.
Yeah, well, I mean, rightfully
Roblox,
so.
Reddit today, there's no buyers right now.
No, there's not. There's none. But I think there's so much more intriguing in the market than getting involved
better choice.
with, and also I think we have to take into consideration is, think about it, we have GTA 6 coming out. Listen, I haven't played video games in years, but looking at the details within this game is pretty crazy.
So you're saying you're going to be playing?
No, I'm not going to, right? Because I'd rather play the ultimate video game, but no, it looks pretty cool, and I do believe it's going to sway a lot of gamers into that kind of into the GTA ecosystem.
Yeah, I think with these guys, and you'll see them important when we go over it. Like you can't really have any declines anywhere. People are gonna if you're anything that's trending down, if you're already looking weak and comparatively speaking, you've just been a bad investment for a year, you're probably not going to have something like the decline in bookings on your guidance. Like that's sort of the thing. Like you could point to a few things in the report here for Roblox that were bad. What's actually interesting for Reddit being down 14% is there wasn't really much negativity in that report. It was beat here, beat there. It was actually very strong for Reddit, but then it's this overhang over data and the deal we have with Google, and that's, I guess, a bigger concern than everyone's expecting. All that said, Reddit is at a pretty look. There's only a few bounce levels when you look at the stock, and it had been upward trending, so it's at one of them right now. So it should open up down more than 10%. Obviously, it's 13% right now. Very unlikely that it doesn't open under 10%. But it could be an SSR bounce, like almost right here, like the 150 level, 51, 52. I just want to look for that initial like false break and then try to go. But we've probably gone way too long without running down some of what happened yesterday. If you missed yesterday, I'm not sure what you were doing. Bloom Energy was probably at the forefront. But if you look down the line, IREM would make a lot of sense as well. In terms of the biggest runners, it gapped up another 5% here today. Instead of just looking at SK Hynix and Micron and SanDisk, I'll just throw up DRAM so you can see that's gapped up another 4% after a crazy run. And what's amazing about the rally on this yesterday was you were already, this is the pre-market. Like DRAM moved almost 10% in the pre-market, and then rallied another 10% in the open market. That's the thing that I'm not used to seeing. Like it was just program relief rally buying all day yesterday. And a lot of times when you see that, don't at me. It's Friday.
Oh.
A test of the gap here makes a little bit of sense to me on DRAM. What it does from there, I mean, I think you can expect some buyers to come in, but a test of that gap makes some sense. Just how euphoric it was unprecedented in terms of the rally.
I mean, like if we're gonna talk DRAM here, the top name's gonna be SK Hynix and Samsung. So here it is. Sharif, I know you and we've been talking about this. quite a bit here. Oh, okay. Yeah, everyone's liquidated. Oh, okay. Let's bounce. Oh, let's bounce here another 20%. Show that, man. I mean, listen, it's so tough, and I've been going on about this for quite some time. Is that when you have such an over-leveraged index and a group of individuals who are playing these 2, 3, 4 times leveraged ETFs that consist of, or even within the cost pair, just consist of 2 names, and then all of a sudden you drop 45%. Those are not worth anything, especially if you're over 2 times, and then it has to reverse split in order to remain correlated and even stay within the market. And then next thing you know, your shares have been, I can't even say diluted, it's the opposite, right? They're removing liquidity. So when you had 100 shares and it splits twice, now you only have 50 at double the amount of price. It's absolutely disastrous. And that's what's happened here in the South Korean index. And you know what? For me personally, I hate seeing these types of things, especially people getting liquidated on the lows, and then the next day you bounce 20%. It's unfortunate, but you got to be really cautious, and I'm going to continuously talk about this as long as these memory names are in play. Is guys, you got to be really careful when you're playing these leverage systems, because they can bite you. They can bite you. All right, so yeah, we're gonna send it back over to the desk, see what they got going on there, and yeah, a lot to talk about. Some big names here today.
Busy day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some Tesla and some SpaceX here, because we had a report which then Elon Musk had some comments on. Before we get to that, though, I do actually want to get into Microsoft, and that certainly didn't bite you yesterday. This actually had its best, I was seeing best day on record, and apparently it gained nearly $450 billion in market cap in one day. So that would actually top the prior highest market cap in one day move from Nvidia on April 9th, 2025. Now, if that day sounds familiar, that's the day that we had that massive move up in the market after President Trump announced the tariff pause. So nice look here for MSFT, topping that Nvidia record on its own individual catalyst. So good look there. But let's go back to that other Meg 7 name here, TSLA, Tesla and SpaceX. According to a report, there could be, as these companies potentially prepare to combine, some China business reorganizations, though Elon Musk has already acknowledged this report.
Yeah, the Journal coming out suggesting that Tesla could be looking at doing a big merger here, and then they'd have to divest their China business. Let's talk a little bit about this China business, because it's not small. They made half the cars that Tesla produced last year, but ironically enough, they only accounted for 20% of sales. So that should tell you something right there. Elon coming out, telling you based on X, calling it fake news, quote, that is a quote. He stated that separating the Chinese business has, quote, never, ever come up in a discussion ever. So those are his words. Strategic AI overlap. Of course, there is a lot of overlap between these two companies. You have Tesla with its physical AI and autonomous driving, and then you have XAI and their data centers. Both have ambitions of expanding, so it would make logical sense for them to tie the knot, especially with Terafab going to cost an arm and a leg. It would be nice, of course, to have synergies there. So it does make sense. What he was denying, he's not denying the merger. He's denying the divestiture of the China business. Now, Tesla is in a very, very special position here, Adara, because most people who go over to China have to have a Chinese partner to operate there. Tesla doesn't. That's one of the very few American companies that gets that privilege, right? So divesting the Chinese business there may not be strategic for him. Moreover, he'd have to get regulatory hurdles taken care of. He'd have to get the Chinese regulator to give the nod. The American regulator would have to give the nod. In addition, the Wall Street Journal goes on to say, Adara, that the merger likely would take place in mid-27 or early 28, about 12 to 18 months post-IPO, with potential deal closing in mid to late 29.
Yeah, and I mean, we actually have SpaceX, of course, reporting earnings next week. So I wonder if this is something he addresses on the earnings call. Because we know Elon Musk and his earnings calls can move the market. So keep an eye on that. In the meantime, he called this story, quote, absurdly fake news, in addition to the other comments Sharif just mentioned that he made. So how do you guys feel about this Tesla and SpaceX look today, regardless of the story here?
Well, I just turned to Joe and I said, look, let's be real. If this is going to happen, it's going to happen before there's a change in administration. Like, it's like, well, the Republicans in power, you're going to want to get this, if it's going to happen, get it done. So while it may be fugazi, the divesting out of China, fair enough, the rumors, the innuendo, all signs seem to lead to that this is happening. So let's be real for a second. If you're a Tesla shareholder, if you're a SpaceX shareholder, you've got to consider what this is going to mean for you. Currently, right, it's SpaceX. Like the way it would work in this merger is that SpaceX would be buying Tesla. Okay, and we already know SpaceX valuation concerns, not enough business, blah 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 blah. Some of the stuff that there was an article that I read a couple of days ago. Actually, it's probably on Monday, so it wasn't a couple of days ago. It was probably Monday morning, where they were discussing what the terms might look like for that merger, and SpaceX giving what premium they would give to Tesla. And I thought of that, and I was like, man, why would anyone want to own SpaceX here? It's like they're gonna like 480 of value was speculated to Tesla shareholders. I'm like, really? Okay. I mean, that's great for Tesla shareholders, who would then probably get a bunch of SpaceX stock and then maybe even want to dump that for those that don't want to be in. And I just can't see this as any path to good for SpaceX for the stock price. Like, I just feel like we're getting next week, we get the earnings. You look at what's been happening this week. It's simply, last week too, it's made a bottom, but what has it done with it? Like, remember all the charts that we're showing with all the exuberance? You're supposed to be able to tell me that SpaceX and XAI is a part of this. Elon's got the best stack, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so where was their rally yesterday? Didn't happen. They closed on the low. One of the things, when we have a day like yesterday, you want to ask yourself, like, what is something that possibly should be participating in this rally and is abjectly not? And if it isn't, that's telling you something. And we definitely heard something with SpaceX. The only mistake was only shorting it in the morning and not really just continuing with it later. Not going to make that mistake today. Going to look short and then look short again in the middle of the day unless it's breaking out above 119. So I think it's a sell. Tesla I'm staying away from. But going into the lockup, going into earnings for SpaceX, it's still bearish in my opinion. Nothing's really changed that. So until we get some numbers for them, see the lockup expire, then we can make a secondary judgment. But I do believe this. I believe this merger is going to happen. The hurdles are going to be probably gigantic when it comes to regulation, which is all the more reason they'll try to push it through before the president's term is out.
Yeah, we do know that Elon's a little optimistic with his timelines as well too, right? So you don't know really what's going to happen with that. I mean, in regards to what we have going on, I mean, it's tough. It's definitely a mixed bag. Now, I believe truly that Robotaxi is going to be the thing of the future. But if the companies do merge, you have to take into consideration it's just like the capital expenditure amongst both of these companies is going to be insane. And right now, that's not a street favorite. They're not loving that as some of these hyperscalers continue to deplete their free cash flows. If these guys are together, it's going to be an absolute juggernaut of spending money, but obviously with the intentions of having some form of return on investment. Now, listen, I think that Optimus Gen 1, I've been saying this for the past while, isn't going to be what we're expecting it. I think it's more or less the Robotaxi who's going to be carrying the weight on its shoulders, which I'm completely fine with. But down the road, if these two companies are merged, I mean, you have everything that is involved with SpaceX. We know Starlink, but it's really XAI that is going to be the nearer-term driver within this company. And I believe it's going to be Robotaxi that takes Tesla to the next. So combine those two. Who knows, man? Anything can happen. I mean, it might be an investor's dream or a nightmare at the same time.
Well, I think in the longer term, if we get to talk about like 2035, if we may.
I know, but
if you ask me, like, what do I think? Like, what's the company that could be the one that rules them all? And like right now we have a battle between like who's the most valuable company. Like I feel like during the course of the year, I don't know, like we might have. It's like a basketball game in the NCAA tournament. Like someone takes the lead, someone jumps past. It's Nvidia one day, it's Apple the next day, and then it's Google and so forth. But if there was ever a situation where in 10, 15 years from now, one company was just unquestionably the largest, and it just never, and there is no battle.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if one company had the best ability to be that dominant, It would be if Elon executes.
Tesla.
I'm not saying he's going to, but if he does execute, and you get the one app, and they basically fulfill every single goal that he's saying, which is maybe not as realistic, then yeah, I think they could do that.
I mean,
but it could be some serious pain in the next year. Some serious pain.
I think for the next couple. I think for the next couple of years. I think this SpaceX, where you're really going to start to see the numbers grow, isn't for a while, right? Like Starlink customer base is growing, yes, but you want to know, I think, coming the report is how much money is XAI bleeding and everything else. Everything else
Starlink
is so,
can't cover all that.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else is so minuscule. I mean, like if you talk about like the asteroid mining and stuff like that, the total addressable market, I get it, but it's just not there yet, and it's still cost heavy too. So. Yeah.
Only in science fiction. But you know what? I feel like we should have already mentioned this one because I know Sharif will be excited. Sharif, I know we talked a lot about big cap. However, when was the last time you saw the number one small cap? I'm guessing it was the number one small cap runner for everyone out there. CYCU yesterday. Have a look at this double top. Yesterday, so right here it was just at 4:30, right as we were getting the Apple earnings in the aftermarket show. Actually, Tisha, thank you for the super chat last night about CYCU. I don't remember if we got to that. My bad if we didn't. Blame me. $3 and then a $3 tap right here in the pre-market. That's about as clear as it gets. Double top at exactly, not 301, not 299. That's got to be on your radar, Sharif.
There's no question about it, Neil, but right now I'm fixated by FCUV because it just ripped up there. This is a trade de novo, guys. This just broke out from $2 from which we closed yesterday. It's ripping up here about 130%. $5 resistance. It's just starting and getting warmed up, so be careful for an immediate retracement. Look for continuation, look for multi-time frame confirmation. It's already dropped from 5 into 4, but there's others as well. So we're looking at FCUV. REPL was breaking out yesterday in the aftermarket as well, continuing this morning. MGRX, a good mover as well yesterday, right at 4 o'clock. It really caught a bid, though, around 5:30. Resistance at $1 tried to make its way up into 80 moments ago, but it did fail. So there's already 3 triple-digit gappers right now on my watch list, and one knocking on the door here, AXTX. We're going to keep an eye here, Adara, during the midday.
Yeah, going to keep an eye on some comments here as well that are coming through. Hassett making some comments, most of these not really market related, but I will let you know that he said that the U.S. will, quote, continue measures to keep oil prices down if needed. There's also this headline here on Nvidia. Apparently, I'm seeing these reports that Moonshot's Kimi was built on 20,000 Nvidia chip clusters via Alibaba. So if I get any more details here, I'll keep you guys posted, of course. Let's talk, though, about RIVN, because Rivian driving a little bit higher here on this earnings report. They did beat on revenue, losses per share kind of in line with estimates as far as I was seeing. So not a bad look here for RIVN.
Yeah, a lot of spending as they're going to be doing for a little while. Let's talk about this. So $1.66 billion in revenue. Good look. That's up 27% year over year. They narrowed their net loss. They raised their full year delivery guidance. I think they're guiding 65,000 to 70,000 cars. Now, not bad, especially with the R2 coming out. But a lot of support, as there has been for Rivian for a while, from Volkswagen. Remember, they got that tie-up. It's a software deal, not a hardware deal. So they achieved, Rivian that is, consolidated gross profit of $179 million. So it's up 11%, but it was almost carried entirely by the software and services segment. Again, that is part of the deal they have with Volkswagen. $308 million came in from Volkswagen. Recall, it's a $2 billion deal. It wasn't going to be all given at once. So that markedly changed the actual accounting here. Without that, we wouldn't be so hunky-dory. $100 million is being spent here in the R2 ramp-up, so there is some cost friction. Automotive gross losses were weighed down by that $100 million that I mentioned. They're using it to scale and tool their new plant, Illinois, in Normal. I guess the city is called Normal there. Regulatory credits as well. A lot of these EV companies, that's what they do. They take these, which are almost 100% profit, to kind of buffer their near-term credit crunch. So automotive top-line revenue, $1.14 billion. $108 million of that was regulatory credits that they were able to sell at almost 100% profit. And Adara, this was really interesting to me here. They cut CapEx guidance, $250 million. This is a company that's building an entire gigafactory in Georgia. How are they able to cut by $250 million? Well, they said, look, we got spending efficiencies here on equipment, and we have a revised timing on the Georgia construction, which may be done. If Randy was here, I think he'd tap dancing on this desk sooner rather than later, guys. I love the look right here.
Yeah, good look there for construction for Rivian. I want to mention as well, we're getting some comments from the CEO of Exxon. We know earnings calls are happening. I want to do some housekeeping too. In 5 minutes from now, not a massive number, but a number that we will be going over. Some employment cost data coming out at 8:30 a.m., 9:45 a.m., Chicago PMI. Then at 10 a.m., the most closely watched number of the day, I would say, the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment. So we'll see you in 5 minutes for that employment data. Back to you.
First of all, like if the vision of Randy tap dancing on the desk is just like
I can vision that.
I feel like we all want to see Randy.
He's going to check for breakfast right now.
Oh, well, hopefully we have. I want the breakfast sandwich today.
Oh.
That's what I've been hoping for this week. Egg, cheese, on English muffin. Because that'll be a little bit more exciting than the 3% that Rivian is up right now. It's been pretty rough for the EV space. It has not been the best ride. So the good news for Rivian is very clearly it's in a nice upward slope, but it's boring. I think if you're looking at this from any kind of a trade, like the opportunities are when it gives you like these. See that consolidation in here around March, right, where it shows you all the 15 buying and then it goes 15 to 18. Now you're getting a little bit of that off the 200 period moving average and the $16 level. So for now, I guess it's like try to buy 16s if it pulls in there. I don't know. It's only 3% up, so I would suppose if we get a sell day, you could challenge some of that support. But that's the only place I'd be interested in trading Rivian. Probably stay away from it. I almost always like now that Lucid's been in play and moving a lot, I just feel like this is one to watch. They didn't report earnings or anything, but after that bankruptcy rumor day, Lucid's just been a solid mover all the time. Like it gave you short, yes, it gave you short 8 to 750, and then like a trend reversal 750 back to 8. Like that's just a couple of 5% moves that are pretty clean, and it's done, and it did that like multiple times during the week. So I just feel like that's got to be in play. You can already see it's got some resistance. If topping tail candles failing that top gives you a short entry, and then the 750 kind of gives you a reversal spot. So again, I'm going to be paying for Lucid locate, so I'm always ready for it when it can go. But Rivian, it's a boring chart, but at least it's not cascading down. Because when you consider the fact that they're not making money and rates could be going higher, hey, good look that they're going to be spending less on CapEx. That's a pretty big surprise. I mean, I was shocked when I read that. What, CapEx is going down for Rivian?
CapEx down.
Good for them.
Narrowing losses.
Stocks up 2%.
Shreve, you talked about that this morning, right? How narrowed their loss from a prior year of 1.1 billion to, so I think that's huge. Consolidated revenue up 27%, 14% increase in deliveries. Like, hey, man. If Randy was upset this morning that he didn't buy this dip, but I mean, with some of these numbers, as long as they continue on this trajectory, there could be some more opportunities to get involved with this name. Now, need I zoom out? Because I don't believe it gets any prettier at that point, but hey, if this company can start to gain some ground and gain some market, which I could jump all over the place, but which I found interesting is that, we'll talk about it later when we do go over Apple, but hey, man, if you're going to get something around these lows, then by all means, 12 months, that's a little bit of a stretch, but you haven't moved very far in the bigger picture of things, so that could give you a good opportunity to see if you want to dabble in some of these manufacturers. But personally, for me, it's just not some. There's just so much more going on other than me messing around with some of these car manufacturers. Right, because it's like margins, it's hot. Like you have these waves of when people are buying vehicles and new technology, and every year you have to come out with a new product. And then we even seen that within Elon. It's just like, okay, what are you going to release, right, from a new product?
What have you done for me lately?
Comes out with the Cybertruck, and then I mean, it was pretty close to a big flop. You do see them around, but it just didn't gain as much ground.
Exactly. We got 20 seconds. We're going to get some numbers at 8:30. Let's see if that can move the markets here, Dara.
Yeah, not sure if these will be the market moving numbers of our dreams, but I want to go over them here just so you guys are aware. At 8:30 a.m., you're getting employment costs, benefits, wages, and the cost index here coming through. Employment costs, I think in general, probably the most important here. That would be wages. That's 0.8% is the forecast, 0.9% is the prior print. Just waiting for this number to populate. So we got employment cost index 0.9%, slight higher than the 0.8% expected. Wages coming in at 0.9% as well versus 0.8% expected. And then you get employment cost benefits coming in at 1% versus 1.2% expected. So benefits lower than expected, cost index and wages actually a little bit higher than expected here. Not much of a market mover, but keep an eye on those numbers. And again, we're going to get more closely watched numbers later this morning at 9:45 a.m. Chicago PMI at 10 a.m. University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment. While we're here, I want to talk about Novo Nordisk because this story came pretty late, I guess, in the morning into the watch list prep, but it's down quite significantly. Seeing a lot of people talking about it on social media. This ziltivekimab not going too well here for NVO, at least this first phase 3 trial.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, man. Ziltivekimab. What? Come on, give us a break over here. Let's go. Phase 3 of their Zeus trial for the experimental drug. They failed to reduce major adverse cardio events compared to the placebo. It wasn't an entire failure. So although it successfully hit its target by inhibiting the IL-6 pathway, it didn't actually translate into actual cardiovascular risk reduction. So there was some good and some bad. You'll see why in a second because they're going to continue trials on this. So there's going to be an immediate financial impact. The market's already pricing in a non-cash impairment charge in Q3 of their earnings report of 26, but it says it's not going to impact their 2026 adjusted profit guidance. So possibly some issues with the next report, we'll see. But the pipeline here continues for this ziltivekimab or whatever. There are 2 more trials continuing here, one on heart failure, the other one on a post-acute heart attack patients. Results for those are expected in the second half of 2027. Wall Street very disappointed at Dara, potentially erasing $3 billion in sales and limiting the company's ability to kind of move away from these GLP-1 drugs, which they've really gotten to know for, right? Looking to kind of diversify a little bit into the cardiovascular game. This was a bit of a setback.
You mentioned that next report. That's going to be coming out on Wednesday morning, and they're reporting the same day and around the same time as Eli Lilly, their competitor in the aforementioned GLP-1 space. How are you guys feeling about Novo here?
Bleh.
Yeah, I mean.
So here's the thing. Like, we actually, like,
hello.
I don't know where it is, but I used to have a button that had like this really good a graphic for puke, right? Like I can hit this, right? Like I hit that one for you. I could hit the flush if we wanted to. Look, Novo, it's like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. I don't want to do the whole cliche best of breed, whatever. I think everyone around here, literally everybody on the show loves Eli Lilly, so it is what it is. And probably nobody on this show, I guarantee you nobody on this show in their personal holdings has Novo, and probably everybody has Eli Lilly. And that's probably true for a lot of people. All of that being said, there is something happening. Oh, it's back up again. Sorry, like the site where we display our super chats and messages wasn't working, and now it's back running, so I'm happy. No, all that being said, look at what's just from a technical standpoint. You've got the 50 and 200 lined up pretty much exactly for a golden cross on what has been an upward trend in Novo. And where if we hold exactly here, you guys can see this candle is going to turn into a bit of a bottom wick. Obviously, that would actually have to happen. And it's about that 46.5 to 47 is the area that has to hold. So, I mean, if I see this in the morning, hold on to that level, yeah, like kind of a relief rally could be in play for Novo there, just from a pure technical standpoint. It's at a pretty good level. Just to go back to one thing, because we had to go talk about the numbers, which obviously didn't really move the markets all that much. But when we're talking about the EVs and Rivian and Lucid, one of the things I wanted to point out is, as much as we talk about how bad the EV space has been, remember that Ford and GM have been doing incredibly well, and partly because they've gotten, they've had less focus on the EVs and going back and sort of focusing on ICE where the money's getting made. Like the F-150, it's a GM chart because this is the one that's pulling back into prior highs and doing fantastically, much better than Rivian, obviously. But it's like the F-150, like that sucker's selling like hotcakes. They don't have to do incentives on that bad boy. So both these names, while Ford's not as good as GM, that's why I showed GM, both of them have pretty good upward trends. that are worth watching. It's not just about everyone like Rivian and Tesla. There's other ways to play automotive that have been much, much better. The theme this year, to me, has been buy the dips on stocks that are trending to the upside as opposed to trying to find bottoms. And you're obviously doing much better if you do that, but that should go without saying, obviously. One last one, because before we go back up to the desk, we got a go back to Joe, because we're going to get into some options here. We did have a super chat that did not just display. I hit the button. I heard the sound, but it's not there. So Nick W., thank you for the super chat. There it is. Oh, now it's showing. Okay, that was just a little bit slow. What do you think about ILMN on the weekly? Ooh, I like weekly charts. I like weekly and monthly. Seems like it has room to 215. Sorry, I just had Caterpillar up. Someone was asking me about Caterpillar in the chat. I had the weekly up, and I was kind of giving them an answer in the chat just then. So we'll go into ILMN. You think it's got room to 255? See, this is why, Nick, this is why we think alike. It is so much, you want rounded bottom, made the low. Maybe you could call it a reverse head and shoulders. I don't know, I don't have that kind of a brain. But regain the major moving averages on the higher time frame. Like, to me, when you get this breakout, right? See this wall, there's your rounded bottom, there's your wall, there's your breakout week, there's your consolidation, that's your long. Right there. And then you can just give it back underneath one of the major moving at which one? 50 or the 200, whichever one you prefer. Maybe it's even in front of that support level. And then you've got room to run. And then you're looking for this gap fill here. I mean, you're saying 55, but I mean, I would look. Anytime and this is a Brian Shannon thing, so I'm not taking any credit for this. Anytime I'm looking at a technical break using major moving averages, one of the things that Brian said, which is actually pretty smart, is if you're using that time frame and it's a downward sloping 200, then you want to take profit, or at least have a more aggressive take profit, because the overall trend is not broken on the 200. And that says 40s to 50s, the 250s. But either way, it's already in the midst of the breakout. I'm not like, that doesn't look like a buy here to 245. It's more of a continuation. Those are the longs you want. Not trying to figure out where it's going to bottom out. Ooh, is it going to bottom? Like, where's it going to bottom? I can't show you guys the chart because it's being blocked here. Let me get rid of that. Because I wanted to make sure you guys, I just realized you guys couldn't even see that, and I'm trying to clear that out of the way. Here, I'll do it this way. Can I just pull it up? There, I'm just gonna literally do it manually and lift it there for you guys. Like, you wanna be making higher lows already. Rounded bottom, you wanna be getting in there. Not guessing at the bottom. Participate in something that's actually breaking. Good look there, Nick. We gotta talk about options because it's Friday. You know that means expirations. You know that means Joe's got a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir, we do, Neil. And we're going to kick things off with a couple of names that reported yesterday after the bell. Apple, we're going to be looking at this $300 marker, guys. Now, there's open interest. We want some of these levels to continue to hold and see how we look in regards to a supply zone. Open interest sitting around 10,000 contracts. A lot of volume stepping in at this $300 marker. 23,000 contracts. Now, our delta exposure is going to be relatively cool, and you can see the spread. So these contracts at the close yesterday, not worth very much, but considering the slide, you may see a substantial increase in the premium on both sides of things. Obviously, with that being said, we will keep an eye on that leading into the open. Now, our gamma exposure relatively light, but you're going to see an increase in that as well too, guys. So our Greeks are going to definitely start to accelerate to the top side, or I guess I should say to the negative side here for our delta here in AAPL. Now, as for the at-the-money IV, 90%, okay? So if the slide continues, we can see an uptick in some implied volatility. Moving forward, I want us to focus on the contract itself, all right, guys? So this is further dated. This goes back a little bit more than a month, June 26, guys. This contract was worth $2,700, okay? This is on the put side. Now, it went to a low of around 27 cents, but we are going to see an increase, right? So our ask is sitting around that zone, and after the open, we will see a dramatic move. To what percentage is what I'm going to be curious about. I wouldn't be surprised if we see close to a double in these further out, those out of the money contracts. Moving forward, let's take a look at some more positive side of things, all right? I know a lot of analysts downgrading, lowering their price target, supply constraints in regards to Apple, but let's focus on something I like in the positivity, all right? Something is a little bit more positive. Wells Fargo increasing its price target with an overweight rating here, guys. We're going to get a price target increase to $350. That is actually up from $310. The firm actually states weaker Q4 guidance component and component constraints, but 19% outperformance versus the Nasdaq in the past month. So, and really strong iPhone sales. I like what we got going on here with Apple. I think this is a good opportunity to start getting involved, even though we are down almost 8%. Moving forward, let's take a look at Amazon. Strike price, $260, okay? So we're going to be looking at the north side of things. These contracts are going to be expiring this Friday. Open interest sitting around 12,700 contract with volume at 4,800 open and closed on yesterday's session. Once again, Ozan, congratulations. He grabbed some of these calls here, Sharif, so he's going to see some dramatic increase. I believe it was the 300 calls he told me that he was looking at, so congratulations to you. You'll see a nice return on those ones. Moving forward, guys, you can see the liquidity is obviously displayed within the underlying. Why? Because we have a tight spread, only $7 here, and it was in the top volume names as well, too. Now, sitting on our delta, that's going to increase after the open. Our gamma exposure will increase as we get closer to at the money, and then our at the money IV sitting at 194%. That's really high for Amazon, guys. So watch out for these Greeks to change as soon as that bell rings. Moving forward, let's take a look at some more positivity within Amazon. Absolute giant overweight rating here, guys, by Piper Sandler. A $320 price target. That is up from $315. We're up more than 11% here today with that overweight rating. The firm stating Q2 results were as clean as the firm can remember. AWS was the standout, accelerating at 37% growth year over year. Some fantastic numbers within Amazon. Let's send it back to Neil.
Good look, Joe. And look, Apple, obviously, no one's going to be happy that it's down 8%. But what more are we going to be asking for? It basically, you can look at this and say it bounced from the 200 period to all-time highs. You can look at this and say it went from 4 trillion to 5 trillion in market cap. And this is not the first time. We've mentioned this before. Apple, when it gets to that fresh, round, even trillion number, it tends to pull back. You know, if it pulls back to the 200 again, then you probably want to buy the 200 period again. It's just, this is the wave that it's going to be on. It's the ebbs and flows that we're getting, not just for Apple itself, but it's the ebbs and flows that we're getting with it relative to the hyperscalers, which means hyperscalers in favor, Apple sells off, and vice versa. It's probably more starting the other direction. Like Apple's strong when the others are weak because money wants to go into there because they're not spending like drunken sailors. But the converse is also going to be true there. Ooh, it is sandwiches. Mm-hmm. Man, see, if you watch the show enough, you will know that when we say, oh, I hope we get this for the breakfast, or I hope we get this for the lunch, how often does that magically line up and we actually get what we ask for? Almost never. Like if I say, oh, I'd like it to be tacos for lunch, it's just not going to be tacos. But it is the breakfast sandwich, which I will try not to eat in front of you on camera and make everybody hungry. I mean, trust me, this will be done in like the next 10 minutes or so, but I'll try to make sure that it doesn't make everybody jealous of the delicious sandwich that I'm
How was it, Randy?
Randy's already finished.
I find them.
Oh, Randy just did this when we asked how it is, and he said no bacon. So there's only, I'm gonna guess it's just egg and cheese.
Yeah, it's just egg and cheese. No bringing home the bacon.
Oh no, we've got no bacon. I mean, we gotta have bacon. That would be much better for sure. But yeah, but for Apple today, I think the place to look, and this is low-hanging fruit. I can't help that the stock closed at $333.43.
Yeah.
And so anybody that can do, like, it's the easiest math ever, like 333.43. So what's 10% down from there? Literally $300.
Yeah.
Like, this stock will be SSR if it breaks $300, which sets up sort of the obvious if it gets short sell restricted, which is the uptick rule in effect, the same way I would look for something at Reddit if it kind of failed an even dollar level because it'll be down over 10%. I'd be thinking the same thing on Apple, but it's a lot of sideways action. It's not really selling off any further yet.
Yeah.
Just wait for that level to come in. There's actually a buyer right now on the level 2.
What do you think?
Hey, someone's frisky right now on Apple.
On Apple?
Here.
About
45,000 shares.
What are you
Nasdaq.
thinking this morning? Because we have Amazon went on a run last night, maybe some continuation there. But we have 2 big names that are to the downside, Meta and Apple. If they find any form of support, and Microsoft going on a big time rally. So if you have this kind of conjunction of these names that want to continue or find a rebound, I think that can add some fuel into the Nasdaq fire here today, and we get rocking and rolling.
If Apple catches a bid, that would be huge.
Absolutely.
But I think the problem with that, why it could be a little bit choppy today, is I think it would be hard pressed to believe that Apple catches a big bid without profit taking in the others. Like, I think what'll end up happening is when if Apple's catching a bid, we're going to see like DRAM will be profit taking, and there'll be some profit takers on Amazon, and maybe that'll be the case, and that'll sort of offset, and then we'll get this choppy. And it's a Friday too, so I think at the open you're usually expecting a little bit of chop. But we give a lesson talking about that first 5 minutes, read the market. I think that's also going to be true at the first 30 minutes. Maybe reassess everything after the opening range gets set in the first 30 minutes. So a little more flexibility today, especially in the names that are, like directly in play. I'm not going to apply that to say like iBid or SpaceX, which are already doing their own thing. But I think for these names, now he's coming with cookies too.
Come on, Randy, man.
Oh, now this is the problem. All right.
My issue with
all the promises that I just made about trying not to eat on camera, out the window with a cookie.
You know the old saying is like, what you don't know can't hurt you, or something, however it goes. I'm just praying, and no one tell me this, I hope that the cheese on the egg sandwich is not Kraft Singles.
I'm with you.
I just don't want to know.
It will be.
You like Kraft Singles, Sharif? I said I just hope that the cheese on the egg sandwich isn't a Kraft Single. Because, bro, guaranteed Kraft Single is crazy.
Oh, word?
All right. Oh my God, yes, sir. Let's rock it. It's Friday. I'm with you,
wow,
Texas
spoiled
boy. What's
brother.
Up?
The ball brotherhood.
Yeah,
just taking care of each other here.
Exactly. This is what we do. Come join the club. This is how we rock and roll around here. But no, in all seriousness, guys, Juan Padilla was asking me about what am I looking at here today. A lot of it's got going on with the Nasdaq, right? And I said first thing to Neil this morning, together ape strong, right? And what I'm getting at is these memory names and the storage names, right? They're really, really strong once again today after everyone's been liquidated in South Korea. I know, sorry, I won't stop talking about it. But again, respectively, in the mid single digits, you're seeing the Western Digital, SanDisk, STX, Seagate, and DRAM continuing to move a little bit higher, so that's positive. If that ball gets rolling, and we're trading slightly south of the volume-weighted average price, in which I like even more. So yeah, if that continues and we have a bounce in some of the names, then I think we can get a nice, solid Green Friday leading into the weekend.
I like a Green Friday. I mean, any day that starts with a warm cup of Joe, the letter Y, a delicious cookie, I'm always happy to see. But I'm looking in the chat, I see that super chat in there, but we see a lot of other things too. You got the right read, you got the right setup, you got the wrong size. The thing about the markets is you probably got the skills a lot of times or the opportunities, but your account might be too small. And Trade Funder is changing that. 100K for stocks, 25K for options today. You keep 80% of the profits paid every Friday, so don't risk your own money. $9.99 to start and refunded on your first qualifying payout. You can start within 1 hour, no evaluation, no background checks, just you and the size to trade that you have been missing. So scan the QR code you see on screen. That's tradefunder.com. You can choose stocks or options. I want to thank them for sponsoring this portion of the show. I want to thank, I just saw the super chat. Now I don't see it anymore. There it is. We just hit the button at the same time. It's lagging a little bit. It's waking up eventually. Yes, maybe, no. It doesn't want. There it is. Film World. Thank you for the super chat, Film World. It's Friday. Even like the system's a little bit slow. I showed it at Apple before earnings with 2x. Should I get out or try to get 290? It's never somebody else's job to tell you what to do in your trade. I'm not short Apple. I don't swing short anything overnight. Oh. That being said, we can always just look at the fundamentals together. Now, when I look at the daily chart, do I see? Of course, I see room to go. Like the 200 period was the last big bounce zone when you think about trend, and that's all the way at 280. But remember, we were just talking about that 300. Yeah, on a Friday here, the 300 level. Like to me, that's the first place. I'm not saying I will automatically go long. I need a technical setup on the 3 minute that's actually going to show me an entry. But that's the first place I'll be looking. And Apple is the kind of stock that after earnings, people will try to come into the buy. So you have to ask yourself in your own circumstances, okay, well, if I don't take some profit, then what am I risking and what does that mean to me? And we have guests come on all the time that do more swing trading, like Steve Talman or Brian Shannon, Michael Noss. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure every single one of them, when they get initial fantastic pop, which is like this was double the expected earnings move, right? So in any frame of mind, you already got more than you expected. Yeah. And they would always say they're taking some profit out. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what people who have years of experience with swing trading typically do, and then let the rest ride for their target. So, that's up to you. And I want to thank you for the super chat. Obviously, congratulations. Congratulations. Still think we got to do that and have something that is not Bitcoins. Yeah. Because, I don't like the fact that when we hit a congratulations button, we're flashing a bunch of, we're flashing Bitcoins. I don't know, man. It's just, it doesn't feel right. We should have something else to confetti.
What do you want? Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Something more positive. It was all well and good when Bitcoin was on a bull. When we made it, Bitcoin was on the way up, right? And now we just kind of have the same graphic there. Congratulations.
Maybe we'll get it to flash some Vera Rubin chips or something like that. Spit those out.
I mean, it could do that. Yeah. Or just, that works.
Some cyber cabs or something.
That could work.
A couple rocket ships.
Like I said, it could just be fireworks or something.
Something along those lines.
Apparently, there's another super chat too.
I've seen it. Yeah. You do your thing. I'll ramble on for a couple minutes. Of course, brother. I'll let you do your thing. Bite into your sandwich if you want to as well. CUV levels to watch here: 1094 and 1443, says Tisha Perkins. Well, guess what? Nothing really matters because KC 526 is already done for the day. She's up multiple R, so congratulations to you on that one. Bovin and everyone else, and you get it, Bovin and Tisha and everyone in KC and everyone in the small cap landia. Neil and I were just watching here, $3.95. It was consolidating. I'm like, Sharif, this is honestly a textbook ABCD pattern right here, a 3-bar play. You continue in the momentum, and then you take that breath. And on this candle right here, I'm like, uh-oh, Neil, it's going to break $5. Cracks, just absolutely destroyed. As Sharif would say, they're dead. They're dead. It was gone. Whoever was there is no longer existent. And then now, sure enough, climbs up to $8 and then continues its momentum all the way to $10.22. So I wouldn't be surprised if this does continue on this path. And Tisha stating, hey, we're going to head over to $14. Man, congratulations if that is the case, and if you have been holding some. Where's Adam James? I haven't seen Adam in the chat hitting the booms or anything along those lines, so it was only a matter of time, but it does seem that there are some small cap names that are really starting to gain some momentum, and I like that. Before we send it back over to the desk, I don't have that. Got 310 Apple puts for 50 cents yesterday printing, says Dead and 4. Yeah, those are going to be looking really good. Congratulations to you for those 310s. You have that 125, or sorry, 11,000, is that correct? Or 1,125, 200 NVIDIA calls expiring Monday. Wish me luck. Okay.
Pull that one up.
Yeah, we can throw that one up. I mean, that's quite a bit, and we'll figure out how much those are worth right now, because you have a substantial amount of size on you, and I honestly just don't know how that's going to perform. I mean, $200 isn't too. It's like $3 away at this point. They're $42 at what I'm looking at. I have no idea what you paid for them. I'm most definitely wishing you luck. So once again, hey man, good luck. What's wrong with Joe's screen? Someone's saying Joe's screen? Oh, anyways, aside from that, yeah, I mean, hey, $42 for those specifically. I was looking at the Apple contracts not too long ago, the 300 ones that we were just going over on the option segment. They're still valued there, so I want to see what those will look like after the open, because I wouldn't be surprised, Neil, if they're worth almost $1 at this point. A substantial drop outside of the expected move. You'll see some major increases within those underlying contracts. So, yeah.
Someone said they can't read your screens. What's wrong with this screen?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Can't read Joe's screen? Oh, okay. Oh, I don't. You're not really supposed to read what's over here. That's for me, and you guys know what you're saying. You can read the chat anyways. But yeah, this is a chart. And sorry, I was just showing up here. I didn't have it pulled up, right? So $42. Sorry, I do that sometimes. $42 for those NVDA calls, and then here's the Apple calls that we want to keep an eye out on right here. All right. So these 300 expiring today, $23. All right, guys. We'll send it back to the desk, see what they got going on.
Time to talk oil here. USO actually continuing to push higher. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could take oil. You've got earnings from the likes of Chevron and Exxon. You've got this Board of Peace update. Apparently, this Board of Peace reaching a deal with other groups in Gaza to potentially disarm, though that's being rebuked by certain groups. Either way, though, no matter what angle you take, Sharif, USO initially looked like it was gapping down, now poised to open higher.
We're going to look at the map. So let's go to the map if we can, please. So this is Damietta. This is a port in Egypt. It's in the Nile Delta. And there was an LNG tanker parked there, flagged with the Marshall Islands, of course, United States territory. And it was hit by a drone. So this is yet another area where the war is expanding. But let's do a little bit of an analysis here, which is why I have the map up. So the Houthis are down here. This is Bab el-Mandeb. This is Yemen. So they control this area here in the south, Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea. Up here, we have Damietta. Who does Iran have as a proxy in this area? I can ask and answer. It's Hezbollah, okay? They're the ones with the most proximate area directly to the Delta. So what we're seeing here is Iran basically relying on unconventional warfare tactics. You're seeing that in the Caspian Sea, where they're attacking, or they were trying to attack Ukrainian ships. You're seeing it Bab el-Mandeb, where any oil coming south from the Saudi east to west pipeline possibly could be met with attacks there. And now you're seeing the ships to the north going through the Suez Canal also get exposed. So now you have a conflict on 1, 2, 3, and now possibly 4 fronts. My suspicion here, and it's entirely a suspicion, is that you're going to see an expansion of the war onto soft targets. You're going to see possibly these drones type attacks where ships are parked, vulnerable, don't really have a lot of security, and it's going to be American assets. Now, there's never really been a conflict between Iran and Egypt, but they view Egypt as an American ally in the same way that they view Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Qatar, all as sort of American allies and proxies. So this is escalating little by little, and it's expanding geographically. How this ends up going, your guess is as good as mine, but I see more upside.
Yeah, and I actually also see some upside here in USO. I'm looking for the catalyst. There was a bit of a spike here. It's not a true social post, that I can tell you confidently. If and when I see anything, I'll keep you guys posted. In the meantime, USO, guys.
Yeah, it just looks like we might get one of those like grinding higher days on USO. Going into the weekend, potential, obviously, of escalation. Seems like it's always the case. And then technically, it's just, you have a gap to be filled from 130 to about 134 here, and it's already on its way. So if it wasn't on your, watch list before, we've seen this type of day where it just slowly grinds higher in a channel, and it's like buy the dip and go, buy the dip and go. Unfortunately, for some of those small cap runners that have been really good, I feel like that's gone to the wayside, like SkyQ, kind of didn't really do anything the last couple times. Battle, and Battle, of course, trades on Blue Ocean.
Oh.
Nobody cares about Blue Ocean for Battle. Well, maybe you do. I don't know. It does very low volume Blue Ocean. You want to look at big cap names in the overnight market. But look at Battle. Barcode, not moving, not going. SkyQ. And the last time we were seeing that uptrend, we were looking for one of these to start going, and these guys, none of them really did. Vivek, it was Vivek, right? VIVK, Vivacor was another small capper. No volume on any of them. So just going to point that out, that today, I think if you're going to play in energy, unless something comes out of the woodworks, maybe there will be another name out there. I think just looking at the channel hold, right? Like as long as it holds that channel, buy dips into VWAP, and then play a little bit of continuation. But I'll always keep the scanners open, because if we keep going and then I see a volume spike and an opportunity to get into one of those small cappers where, quite frankly, when they do go, they're going to move more than USO. Right? Like if USO goes from 2.5% to 5%, and one of these, you just need one of those small cappers to go, and you can see 20, 30% moves. That's why people gravitate towards them on days like this. But it didn't work last time. At best, you were scalping for really, really small amounts. But I'll just keep them on the back burner. Not going to be top of the list, because the last time it just occupied a level 2 that ended up being a waste for me.
Yeah, I mean, here's USO, guys. At one point, we were down 30% off of those highs, a little bit more, 33 to, we'll call it 34 flat. Now you've gained more than half of that back, and you were only a couple of percentage points off of that high. Now, what am I getting at here? Let's correlate what we have with the overall market and the VIX. So the VIX index, I mean, a couple of weak sessions in the overall market, hence why we've seen that 20% pop in the VIX, in the fear index. But then yesterday, as things got a little exciting and you've seen some of the names find some form of recovery, gives back the majority of that move. Now we're on the slight rise again here. Oh, I wonder who's going to be the reason for that. I think a lot of it has to do with that Apple slide here being pretty hefty, guys. You can see that we're down 7.6%, but then you have a bunch of other names like Amazon up almost 11% at this point. So I think the VIX is going to be a massive teller in which direction. VIX goes down, might find a market rally. VIX goes up, oil might go up as well too, and the market heading to the south side. But this is also what I was getting at not too long ago. SanDisk 4%, Western Digital, Seagate, DRAM, SK Hynix, I mean 5%, 4%, 3% respectively. Texas Instruments and AMAT as well too. Yeah, so I mean, by all means, listen, anything can happen on today's session. I believe we all know that. And we have a lot of options contracts expiring today as well, too, guys. So just keep that in mind. MSTR, here's the crypto space right here, not performing too bad. Listen, so that, like this, yeah, Sharif, you know when I'm about to get into something here, man. I'm obsessed about what we have going on with some of these leverage products. Why? Because we know that we're going to get single stock futures as well, too. Well, congratulations. Here's more leverage for the overall market. But here it is, 92% to the downside. This is going to have to reverse split. It will, as Joe Exotic once said, it will never financially recover from this. It's not good, man. You have to be prepared to only use these vehicles from an intraday standpoint. All right. It's 9 o'clock sharp. It's 9:02. There's plenty of names that we're going to get to run through here. Let's send it back over to the desk and start our morning rundown.
All right, guys, 741 3/4 is where we closed out on the SPY yesterday. We're about 743 right now. So just like that, we're back into that 740 range we've been speaking about, it feels like, for a couple of weeks. Funny enough, though, we did dip down quite aggressively yesterday, but I do want to point your attention to the fact that we bounced off that very key area of wider technical resistance. We are talking about 730. We got into there yesterday. There were no closing prints on the 4-hour below 730, in the same way that there were no closing prints below 730 back on June 26th when we hit that same area there. So that's a key technical area of resistance. But I also want to point your attention to these lower highs that we are consistently putting in on the 4-hour. We're a little bit above it right now. So let's see if we can break trend. We're looking at 745 initially, Adair. If we can't get above there, we're looking back to 740 as support.
And right now we're looking at some of the potentially the most in-play names of the day. Here's our Trader TV Live watch list to help you follow around with our rundown, which is going to kick off right now at 9 a.m. Eastern. This watch list, which you can get for free using that URL or the link in the description, will give you some of the biggest names that are moving this morning, names that are expected to move, events in focus, earnings in play, everything you need and more. Check out that watch list. We're going to start here by talking about AAPL. Apple, decent earnings report for this quarter, that they did miss on certain aspects of revenue for certain categories, but the Q4 guidance, I think, pretty concerning here for Apple.
Yeah, it's a September quarter outlook that is not good. You also had a miss on services, not by much. You also had a miss on iPad, but you had a decided beat on iPhone and a decided beat on MacBooks, hence the MacBook Neo that we've been talking about. Look out for pressure there as component costs will be an issue. Look, it was a record Q3 for Apple here, a little bit less than $110 billion in revenue, $2.02 earnings per share. That was buffered artificially, though, by tariff refunds, I should say. So they had record over 50% gross margins for the first time in the company's history, but that was materially aided by the reciprocal tariff refunds, which added, give or take, about 200 basis points here, or about, if you want to quantify an earnings per share, about 11 pennies per share of that 202. Europe, believe it or not, was the primary growth engine. We've been pounding the table this quarter and last about China's recovery. Well, Europe brought in the most money here. $5.4 billion, that's a 35% increase year over year for that continent. Not something that you would have seen on my bingo card. Up from $15.4 billion year over year revenue increase. And then on their 10Q, they officially released that risk factors here are being really kind of boosted by the escalating costs of both memory components as well as third-party AI computing infrastructure. So it's going to intensify the expected pressure of these future products' gross margins. So we'll have to see how that looks. And then this was the last earnings call for Timmy C before John Turnus takes over on the 1st of September.
Lots to digest. What's the look for you guys for AAPL?
Yeah, so for myself, I'll probably just look for that 300 level to get tested. Because I think there's a decent chance that we can see that. Whether you go out to, like I said, whether you go out to the daily chart and just look at the recent resistance there, I don't even care about that. It's literally exactly 10% down, almost to the penny. It'll be 10% down when it gets to 300. Throwing that at the Friday, it'll be a huge strike. So I think there would be some gravity to get it there, and I'm just going to look for a bottom tail, false break, and a reversion play on Apple. Just going from the higher time frame look, I think this is one where you want to give it. It's not just a 3-day rule. I think it'll be more appealing for an actual dip buy, obviously at the 200 period moving average, if it even gets there. And remember, they came into this hitting the 5 trillion mark, near 40, or actually might have been at a 40p, which is very expensive relative to the market. And then a lot of the rally had to do with its strength relative to everyone selling off memory and the hyperscalers. So until those abate, it'll be challenging for Apple to catch a bit of a bid. It was impressive that they had strong margins still. Right? You know they're going to have to continue to increase prices because that's not going anywhere either. So there's a few things that are giving it some gravity to fall a little bit further, and I won't be buying it. I won't be trying to go long unless it's some kind of a reversal trend on a dip further. Like, I'm not trying to buy higher here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a pretty aggressive gap down. There's two scenarios, and you can say, hey, thanks, Captain Obvious, but it's either a gap and go scenario or, and go, I mean, heading to the downside, or you start to recover, because this is recover a little bit here, because this is a pretty hefty move to the south. Right? I mean, from where we closed at yesterday, 333 down to 307, I'm in Neil's camp. If we do continue this slide, then you want to look for 300 to hold, and maybe you can find a bounce from that. But it's a little bit of a mixed bag, right, within Apple. Something that I find interesting here is the firm states wafer supply constraints and cost inflation ex memory are near-term headwinds, which I do agree with, but produce price increases between the Mac and the future iPhones and the iPads, and the 2-nanometer chip can partially mitigate that in the coming quarters. So regardless of what's going on, I think it's a temporary bottleneck when it comes to the supply chain and the cost of memory. Once supply does meet up with demand, then I do believe that this name, considering what we have on the street, is everyone going after free cash flow. If you're blowing up your free cash flow, the chances are, if you're not having cloud compute grow at an insane rate, the street's going to make you pay the price for that. We've seen that through multiple names as these big boys continue to deplete the free cash flow. These guys fantastic numbers when it comes to FCF, guys. Let's send it back, talk some Amazon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, guys, looks like President Trump is speaking to Fox. Just be aware, he says the Iran war is, quote, going well. So keep an eye on more comments from him. Now you can see that headline on the screen. Let's talk, though, about AMZN, because interestingly enough, international segment revenue and AWS revenue, the exact same amount this quarter, which I thought was pretty interesting. You had strong year-over-year growth for AWS. Revenue guidance, much like Apple, a bit of an issue going forward. But overall, not a bad report for AMZN and the market reacting in kind.
Yeah, Q2 revenue here, record. $200.6 billion versus the $196 expected, and an eye-watering $5.75 earnings per share. That was buffered though, so we'll get to that in a second. And how about AWS? Revenue accelerating 37% year over year on the quarter. Very aggressive numbers. But let's talk about that Anthropic tie-up, because they printed quite nicely here. So the headline net income of $62.6 billion, or about $5.75 a share. Well, that was heavily distorted by a $53.4 billion pre-tax non-operating gain. That's a mark to market, of course. It's based on the current valuation. It could be different tomorrow or the day after. But free cash flow, Joey highlighted this with Apple. It's a pressing issue for all the Mag 7. Despite the record quarterly operating income of $27.5 billion, the trailing 12-month free cash flow is negative for the first time in like almost 20 years. $18.2 billion was what they had last year. Now they're negative $7.6 billion. Management had to raise their full-year CapEx for 26. They're looking at $220 billion now in full-year CapEx. It's entirely AI data center driven. AWS as well has an eye-watering RPO or backlog, whatever you want to call it. It jumped by $130 billion, now up to almost $500 billion in unmet demand because they don't have enough supply. And even the supply that's coming in 27 and the supply in 28, it's already accounted for. They've already booked it out to other people, so they don't even have anything for the next 2.5 years. And then we talked a lot about their custom chips as well as Gen AI. Inferentia, Trainium 2 now. They're both running independently, bringing in about $25 billion a pop each. So that's a very good look there. Very diversified there.
Yeah, really good look there for AMZN, the stock and the company. I also want to mention more comments from President Trump. Nothing new here during this Fox interview. Quote, the U.S. is hitting Iran hard. We just keep winning. At 11 a.m., President Trump will be holding his cabinet meeting. Stay tuned. We'll cover that for you guys.
The Alphabet, the Microsoft, and the Amazon quarters are exactly why Mark Zuckerberg is like that dude walking across the street with his lady in hand, and he does one of these.
Yeah.
A word?
Yeah.
Oh, it could be like that. Oh, I got to get on this data center game train.
Yeah.
I got to get that too. So it's a little bit jealousy.
Shout out Lawrence Sanchez. You seen that? Have you seen that that meme where he actually does that? That's crazy. Yeah.
No, so if Meta, they have excess capacity. They want to get a data center too, so they can see these types of returns. Because there's obviously a lot of money to be made, and this is not about Meta, but yeah, look at the chart. There is about Meta too. So for Amazon, look, I understand like negative cash flow, not a good thing, but the market's going to say if you've got the growth and it's continuing to expand, then that's the way that you're going to be able to justify it, right? So as long as that is going to continue to be there, then you're going to continue to see the bounces. They also, of course, Amazon has a moat as well. They are along the lines of Alphabet. Right? There's a lot of other levers they can pull, but this 11% isn't about retail. It ain't about Amazon. It's about AWS, and it's like literally nothing else. Amazon. What's crazy about this company is really if you were to simply compare their valuation to the other cloud companies, it's almost like you get the retail business for free with Amazon. Now the thing that's a bit frustrating, see when you sit down, look what it was doing. This was setting up almost perfectly for that thing that I was looking for in Microsoft yesterday, which obviously Microsoft didn't do because it just blew out the top, which was trend down, fill in the gap, and then go. Obviously, if we go back to Microsoft yesterday, that spectacularly didn't happen, right? Like Microsoft was more trending up, and then when it looked like it was going to break lower and fill in the gap, I like the halfway at 415. I wasn't thinking it would fill the entirety of the gap, and it just was a complete rocket ship rocket ship, breakout. It was ridiculous. Amazon, I think being at a Friday, better chance to try to fill in this gap to the overnight highs. Like the initial bounce and the aftermarket was the 256 half, and then there was a rejection of the 257 level. I think that's the spot to look at for myself there in Amazon. And on the daily, it's sort of broken out. Whoops, that's an old trend line. Just get rid of that because I don't need that. You've broken out this little head and shoulders pattern, which also lines up with that 257. So it's also like a prior high here on the daily to give some confluence to that dip.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny. I like that you brought that up, Neil, because we have to take into consideration this is an e-commerce giant. This is an e-commerce giant. But it's like, okay, let's kick that to the curb, even though it's driving revenue, even though we know within the growth, I'm not going to discredit that whatsoever, 37% within AWS cloud growth year over year, insane stuff. But it's just like, all right, what are we focusing on? And Sharif made a fantastic point. Their custom chips are already starting to turn, to bring in revenue to the tune of $23 billion. It's insane. We talk about Google being that tech ETF. Well, Amazon, quarter after quarter, is doing exactly that. Don't forget, we have Zooks in Austin and in Miami coming up as well, right? So you have hey, Sharif, man, the AV game. Then you have the e-commerce side of things. You have the digital ad revenue within Amazon Prime and other features as well too. And then you get into the cloud and all these custom chips, and it's like, holy cow! Like this is something. I think this name has really big potential to start to climb the ranks when it comes to market capitalization, especially at these clip rates. And the CEO stating that he wants to start his own AI tools as well too. Never mind the investment in Anthropic. We're going to start our own, and next thing you know, this company is going to be valued at $3-4 trillion probably in the next coming years. I wouldn't be surprised by that whatsoever.
I'd be surprised if Roblox had that kind of evaluation though.
Yeah.
I'm not going on a limb. That's an easy
To
one.
steal a pun from Sean yesterday, it is decidedly game over for Roblox. Looks like it might be trying to base out here, but you know, the company, we had a little bit of a decline here when it came to gross bookings growth. You had revenue that did grow, but the guidance a little bit tepid here going forward for Q3, Sharif.
Yeah, you know what? It's a mixed bag here, Dara. It feels like it could be a short-term headwind, but maybe there's more to it. So they missed key operating estimates. Bookings only grew by 8%. That missed, of course, and their daily active users, their DAO, actually dropped from late 25. The company has an explanation for that. They're saying, look, the shortfall here is a structural engagement shift away from the higher monetizing games that peaked in 2025. They're saying now their users are playing more of these evergreen games. We'll see if that continues into 27, but that could be a bit of a pause, because if they get new games on there like that, what's it called? What is that called, Neil? Brain rot. You know, that could move the needle again. Neil knows exactly what I'm talking about with brain rot there. Core U.S. stagnation, though. This was a tale of many different stories. So the U.S. and Canada only grew at 1%, very stagnant there. But when you look over to the international users, they grew about 15% in APAC, and then the rest of the world also grew 15%. The problem is the average revenue per user for international markets decidedly lower than in North America. So it didn't balance out. That's a problem. Free cash flow surged, though. We keep making fun of all these Mag 7 companies with negative free cash flow. Well, these bad boys over here, they have about $318 million in operating cash flow, $294 in free cash flow. Obviously, these are not hyperscalers, so they're not in the billions, but they're, you know, right now they've got money and healthy. And interesting here is the growth of the 18 to 34 demographic. That grew 42% year over year, and their daily active users in that category also increased 37%. Why does that matter? Because that category of individuals has money, whereas the younger users have to rely more on their parents. That could be a good headwind, or tailwind, pardon me.
Yeah, with Roblox too, as I mentioned, they are actually guiding a gross bookings decline. So this is their gross bookings over the last 8 quarters plus what they're expecting to do in Q3. As you guys can see, gross bookings, an important metric for Roblox, has really stagnated recently, and they're expecting that stagnation to continue with, again, that year-over-year decline. Are you guys looking to play Roblox today?
No, we're not playing any games here when it comes to Roblox. But just to add to Sharif's point, The 13-year-olds don't have any money. The company reported decelerating monetization by the under 13 cohort. They're not doing anything. Like, congratulations, you can go get a paper route maybe or something, a little cash on the side. But in reality, you have no credit cards, right? And again, you have that transition to of the individuals. Don't forget, you don't stay the same age forever, unfortunately. As that demographic that was playing the game initially gets older and they sway away to something that they find is more or less going to fit their needs when it comes to GTA or Call of Duty. It's like Roblox is fun, and I understand it. It's infrastructure, but people grow out of things, and that's exactly what this company is seeing. Did we pull up my chart here, Assassino? Down substantially. Outperform rating, $40 price target. That's down from $65. Wedbush really not liking what's going on, and then the fact that they're lowering Q3 guidance, disappointing, and leaving very, very low visibility in where this company is actually, the trajectory of this company in the future and of this game. It's unfortunate because when we're talking about this space specifically, I remember in my earlier 20s, it was Fortnite, and it's funny, my friends and I were reminiscing about it. It was Fortnite. We would play that thing until 3 or 4 in the morning until one day you're not, and that's unfortunately the case here, I believe, that we have going on at Roblox. That new shiny toy, Neil, and all the kids that are getting older are going to flock to that, and it's what I was saying about earlier. It's going to be Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah, well, I know you said, everyone's always getting older. No one stays the same age. Speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself. Yeah.
I've been 25.
What is where's the Tinkerbell from? What's that? Neverland. Neverland.
Yeah.
There you go. You don't grow in Neverland.
I'm still a kid, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, same, man.
I wish that was true. It's not true. Yeah. But we're going to get a little bit older before we like Roblox again. And I'm just going to throw up the weekly chart. At this point, wait for like 25, at least underneath the $30 level. So there's 30 on the weekly. And a triple bottom going back to like 2022 to 2024 at $25. It's not quite close. It's one day of the flat bottom break. It's down 22%. Those ones are tricky for continuation. Because if it wasn't for the fact Apple could be an SSR play today, and Reddit, which I guess we're talking Reddit next, so you'll see that one double digits to the downside. It's always tricky looking for a continuation short anywhere than on trend at VWAP. But when it's at $30, that's a spicy level. 25 is a bigger one. Don't try to catch it. It's a falling knife at this point with Roblox. And I can say all I want, which is true, that my 9-year-old and her friends still love Roblox, but that doesn't matter. It's great. Like, they do spend parents' money, but unfortunately, they're just
Robux.
Yeah, they're just not getting over the hump. And go ahead.
If we can do this, Assassino, if you have. Yeah, Neil. So do you allot them like a certain amount of money to use per month, per week? Like, how do you parent this into, like, what's the structure here?
Yeah, no, I don't know what anyone else does, but yes, it'll be like, this is the amount that you have. And if you want, like, she's allowed to use her own money if she wants. And then I'll be like, look, if you want more, then you can use your own money. She gets money on birthdays and whatever, all that kind of stuff. And I have like, my godmother's like, is always sending her money. Like, a card will come, it's like, it's not her birthday, because it's my godmother. And we'll send errands and stuff all the time. But if she wants to use her own money, it's fine. Give it to me, and then you can have some more Robux. But I don't know I really don't know what other parents do.
Is that where the majority of her funds are going? Is to Robux?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Cool, yeah.
No. She actually, my daughter saves almost everything that she gets.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
She very rarely spends it. And when most of the time when she's like, we'll go when we're in Europe, when we're in London, like, we'll go into a store and she'll actually ask first, can I buy this with my money?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's not that, like, and we've told her, it's like, look, you get to make your own decisions, and then we'll say, hey, well, you know what, this thing that you're buying, we could buy basically the same thing back home and like for a fraction of the price. But like, that's not a good purchase. But there's other times where it's like, hey, this is the chocolate that you're not getting here, so we'll go ahead. It makes sense. But yeah, I think it makes sense.
You can get it cheaper at Dollarama.
Exactly, like that kind of thing. But she does ask for the advice, but her money's her money. She's 9 years old. She can learn to make her own decisions. I think that's important. The other thing that I think is important is to figure out what did Reddit do wrong.
Oh.
Sharif, Adara,
Talk to us.
what did they do wrong here? It's getting smoked.
I actually do have a theory, Neil, and it's pretty mild. I only realized it while I was updating my infographics, guys. Exit TTV research, there are way too many infographics coming on earnings. But I bring this up because Reddit actually did post a slight slowdown in ad revenue growth. It's still up significantly, but growing by about 64% versus more than 70% over the last couple quarters. Regardless, though, as Neil implied, top and bottom line beat. Q3 sales guidance strong. They do have some concerns, though, still, Sharif, as we've been discussing with this Google search issue.
It's Google related, Adara. This is the problem, right? It's the AI overviews that are really hurting the organic results that Reddit populates in the Google search results. And that's the problem. So if you are getting the answer in the AI overviews, which are very effective, I've been finding myself using them a lot more, to be quite honest with you, you're unlikely to click on the link itself. And if you don't click that link, they don't get paid vis-a-vis advertisers. It's really that simple. So, they've threatened possibly removing themselves from AI overviews. The problem with Google is they don't allow you to remove yourself just exclusively from AI overviews. You have to remove it from the entire index, and then that hurts them, both ways. So this is a problem I don't really see them navigating unless they get a receptive audience with Google management. Let's see how they manage this, Adara.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how they manage it. I was going to try to pull up the yen here, but just keep an eye on the USD JPY relationship. Reuters reporting that the U.S. Treasury has informed select banks that it may intervene in the yen market on Friday. So keep an eye. We know yesterday there were some reports of suspected yen intervention that could still be in play, but definitely in play potentially is RDDT. How are you guys looking at this stock?
Yeah, so this one down 15 points. And kind of tongue-in-cheek, we did know that this is about them and Google and the breakup and the problems that's going to be causing, because everything else looked pretty good. Now, unlike Roblox, I think there's a better case for the long and the relief rally. It was at least upward trending going into this, although losing some major moving averages. A 150 is a support area. More appealing would be the 140 on Reddit, but as an SSR play, I was showing Joe, like the clean trend line down absolutely sets this up for a reversal play here off of the open. If it doesn't break the low, so right now with only 3 minutes to go, this looks like it's going to be the low here of 148.75. So if it cannot close underneath that low bar, I want to look trend reversion to VWAP and pre-market highs for Reddit here. So that's going to be relatively simple. Just before we go back over to Joe, it is 9:25, so we're just going to throw the imbalances up there so you guys can see it live. Nothing crazy. Amazon sells 600,000. We've got IBIT, 400,000 sell. I like that for a short. That's relatively weak. BE, 275,000 to the buy side. So those are the ones that stand out. CYCU, that small capper, very small buy and balance. I mean, $200,000 for that small capper.
Go here, man. That's nice, wherever this is.
That's some cool stuff.
Yeah, it is some real cool stuff there. Looking at our screensaver, because you know how it changes all the time. But anyways, in all seriousness, guys, hey, let's give credit where credit is due. We've seen the majority of the IPOs over the past couple of years tank. Well, look where we're sitting here within Reddit. I understand it's not looking too pretty in a potential head and shoulder pattern because we're sitting around 206. But if we go across the board and look at the numbers, they're actually pretty good. All right. So, I mean, posted earnings of $1.25 a share. I know we've gone all over this already. That's up from 45%. Revenue surged 61% to $805 million, surpassing the estimates. But we also have the revenue per user up 36% from the previous year as well. So I think those are some pretty good things. But if you really disengage from the Google ecosystem, you're going to put yourself in a little bit of trouble. And I think that's the issue that Reddit's got going on right now. Other than that, what we see, digital ad revenue on the climb as well within this name. So hey, as long as they remain on the path that they're on, and you diverge from Google, then I don't know, there might be some more downside in this name.
One more to go. We got 2 minutes to the open. It's the last one. Of course, it's Friday, options expiration. Coinbase and MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy never moves much on earnings.
Yeah, Coinbase certainly did though here, and they also unfortunately reported a lot of losses across their revenue segments. Only a couple year-over-year gains here. Rough look for COIN.
Yeah, 2026 earnings missed 1.2 billion, 1.35 billion expected. That's a big miss there. Net loss almost $360 million. Let's talk about this. Bitcoin spot trading. Can you believe this? It used to account for 50% of the revenue. It collapsed to 12%. We know why. Bitcoin's not going up. People aren't trading. It's really that simple. USDC, though, reached 30%. Listen to this. Subscription and services revenue almost $560 million. That now accounts for about 48% of net revenue, heavily bolstered by an all-time high $20 billion in average USDC held in Coinbase products. That represents about 30% of all the USDC in circulation held on Coinbase's platform. I wonder if they leverage that. May layoffs saved about $600 million for the company. Sadly, we never want to champion this. Over 4,300 people lost their jobs. In May, that was a 14% workforce reduction, and that helped them lower their CapEx spending to about 4.2 to 4.45 billion for full year 26. It's about $600 million less than they were looking to spend. Last but not least, today are prediction markets. We've been talking a lot about this. It's really moving the needle for a lot of these companies. Over $100 million in annualized revenue, 106% surge year over year on that record.
Good luck at the bell, everybody. We'll send you back to the guys.
Very much the opening bell for the last time this week. It's Friday. I actually think IBIT and Bitcoin are going to be weak today. They're already down 1.6%. I know it's a 24-hour market, but IBIT gapping down. I want to be looking initial fade there. Shreve goes down.
It's like, okay, so with Coinbase, I believe it's 50% of its revenue coming from Bitcoin trading. Oh, yeah, well, guess what? Yeah, let's liquidate everyone. So here we go. You have a mass liquidation event in early October. It happens again in January. Next thing you know, you don't have any participants to actually trade the underlying because no one has no money because it was taken, because you're trading these crazy and insane leverage products. It's going to be an ongoing problem here, guys, and I think that's going to be the narrative for quite some time. Enough about this Bitcoin talk. It's time for us to look at the overall market. There goes the Nasdaq once again, guys. Hey, I mentioned this. I did believe that we were going to continue to move a little bit higher. Can we get much higher? I don't know. So there we go. Exactly. $550 on Meta. We're starting to see that recovery. I have METU up on my side chart. Apple to the downside, Neil. So far, it seems like it's going to be a gap and go scenario, with us looking for that $300 marker to find some form of a base for this underlying asset. Let's see if this name can find a recovery. But so far, not too bad. A mixed bag when it comes to NVDA. We popped up to almost $199. Things aren't looking too bad here, but that 300 marker incoming on AAPL.
Yeah, well, 300 incoming on AAPL as the market goes higher, but the market continues to go up. And we said Bitcoin was already going down. It just tagged pre-market. The first thing it did was almost like immediately failed the volume-weighted average price, so jumped into the short. It was like the first thing that we liked to the south side. Gonna look for it to close a bit of the gap. Just want to show some targets in here. Go 2 days ago, 35.85. We're at 63.5, so it'll be about 63.25 or so on IBIT. So the first trade is to the south side. Oh, Amazon just dipped, but not to where you thought. Well, maybe you did think it.
Maybe.
But it dipped into VWAP and now challenging the highs. I just said that fill in the gap kind of dip idea, maybe not going to be there again, just like Microsoft. But it hasn't broken out yet. Hasn't broken the highs. There's still the chance that it can give you a dip a little bit deeper. Amazon, 13% to the upside. Monster day for them. And any guesses what Roblox did at the open?
Tank.
Bounce.
Oh.
Roblox actually breaking out, believe it or not.
Holy
so
cow.
What is dead may not die. We should have, just a note, DRAM still going. I know in my note I said I was looking for a dip into prior high and go.
Yeah.
If we're going to have another one of these days, read that opening 5 minutes and then try to judge from there if I can get myself an entry off VWAP. But I want to see it at least show me the opening range to get an entry on that. So for now, it's really just IBIT. Market's at the highs. Go figure. It's at the lows. Bitcoin stinks.
Dude, Neil, we were talking about this morning. Let's keep an eye on. Here's this specific Apple July expiring today put contract. Okay, well, guess what? If you happen to be a buyer of this put contract, congratulations, 759% right out of the open. So if you're getting involved with this name, You can see the volume and the liquidity. So a substantial return there when it comes to AAPL. Excuse me, guys, a big time move and continuing to slide. $300 incoming, Neil. It's only a matter of time, I believe. We're $1.27 away from that marker. And this put contract is continuing to climb higher and higher. This is real time, ladies and gentlemen. This specific move is absolutely insane within this. And I mean, it's the beauty of options. Things are a lot more difficult and easier said than done. But I was mentioning from the fact of this morning, watch out for this level. And it did give you a time frame to get involved. Neil, if you were to happen to do a marketable limit, so get involved on that put contract right out of the open, well, you're at 110% already. So it's climbing 237. Continuing its bleed, listen.
But it's at the 300 mark.
It's at the $300 mark, yeah, and we're going to see this move. The Nasdaq is actually at the high of the day, most likely being led by NVDA and the meta recovery we got as well, too.
Yeah, it fits the theme, right? Like when you have chips going higher, when you've got hyperscalers going higher, it's all about the fact that they're the AI play, and Apple's sort of the antithesis of that. And Apple trying to bounce right off that just
Holy cow.
over 300, it looks like. Got to 55 before getting a little bit of a bounce here on Apple. I'm just looking up to make sure we're keeping an eye on Amazon and DRAM, which is still flying, although trying to do a bit of a pullback. Amazon's still looking pretty strong. So here's 300. Show me that bottom tail candle. Come on, hold over 3. It's holding 302 right now, so looking pretty good. I will take a reload on IBIT, but right now I want to see I want to be focused on Apple here at that $300 level.
Yeah.
Might have missed the chance to just sit in front of 300 because I'm not going to chase it all the way to 02. So, all right, I'm going to have to let that one calm down a little bit here. The aforementioned Amazon bursting through the highs as we speak. I'm gonna look at DRAM for you guys. I know you could be showing SK Hynix or Micron or SanDisk, but for myself, I just like trading this in particular, and instead of trying to go with the individual name. Obviously, Samsung as well, but we can't trade Samsung, so you get all in one here with DRAM. It broke the high. Now it's just a matter of closing this candle, showing me that you can hold the opening range. I don't want to be in the rejection candle if it gets back under this 54.8. I feel like that's a little bit of a trap. What else is right? I'm seeing a lot of Oracle in the chart here. Oh, position board's not working.
I'm not in anything. Are you in anything?
Yes, I am. I just looked over now. The position board is incorrect. I am still in IBIT. So we will get that restarted, Andre, if we could. Because, whoops, that's going to be Blue Ocean. I'm still in the short, actually trying to reload IBIT here. So short under VWAP on IBIT. It's the only position I have on, but we'll get that restarted so it's working.
Yeah. Again, here, holy smokes. When you beat your expected move, we were looking at this contract once again this morning, guys. This is real life options contracting right here. So keep your eyes on it. This is real time, real data. Now, $2.28. You climb all the way to 922. So Ozan, 300%. He told we have to refer to Ozan from now on. He told me this morning as Mr. Rich. So I know, Adara. So we can't listen. Ozan, we have to ask his permission to speak to him. So Mr. Rich himself, congratulations, and I'm happy for you. All right, we got a couple super chats here, Neil. I'm still waiting for this pullback. We're experiencing one right now in Meta, ladies and gentlemen. We have the options data up here as well too, so we can take a look at any live contracts if you want to. I'm waiting for this, but a couple of super chats. Sold my 1,125 NVDA $200 calls, massive 100K in profit in 1 day, says Jacka.
Damn.
Man, I wish I had my my stream deck here. Otherwise, I'd hit a couple bangs or something along those lines for you. So congratulations to you. And you know what I say? Don't spend it all in one place, all right?
Or do.
Oh.
What's wrong with that?
Okay.
Maybe you like.
Wait, what spot you gonna? If one place, where you going to spend your 100K?
Your savings account or your.
But is that not? That's not spending. That doesn't count, man. Not saving it. That's crazy. You walk up into a car dealership, that'll go pretty quick. So
I'll tell you how you want to spend that all in one place.
How? Eating. Oh, you just go and but where are you gonna go have a $100,000 dinner? I'm sure you can find that. Maybe Salt Bay or something can find that. We got another $2 super chat. Please take a look at Stack. Is this one of these small cap gappers? moving again today. So Stack, I mean, from a volume standpoint, guys, not looking too good, right?
Flying.
Is Alphabet flying? And the Nasdaq's actually pulling back as we head a little bit lower here on AAPL. And same thing, we're pulling off of that $200 marker in NVDA. I have to focus on this meta trade just in case we get any form of continuation to the northeast, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. But before we do, Stack, sorry for jumping on. Stack, for me personally, look at this volatility. You have to be prepared to sit in this.
That's not even right.
Yeah, so I mean, be cautious. Very liquid this morning, okay? Now I got to get to a lower time frame. One thing that I do want to keep an eye out on here, ladies and gentlemen, is the options chain via NVDA to see what we have from a concentration standpoint at that $200 marker, okay? So let's pull that up right now and see what we got. 65,000 contracts. There's clearly a supply zone right here, and we ran into a level of approximately $200.09. So keep an eye out on that.
Just an update. The position board, it's back up and running, but it is incorrect. It's now showing like the last fills. So because the last thing I did was cover a short with a buy, it's indicating that I am long. I am not. I am actually short in IBIT, but my last cover is indicating the long. So we'll probably have to restart it again. I don't know if they're listening. We'll get that one figured out for you. Big reversals happening all across the board here. Tesla back into the downside here. Amazon's still looking pretty good, and so is Google, but I just went over. Remember, we were waiting for an actual confirmation candle that could hold in DRAM? It did not. Instead, you get a hefty reversal candle there. This is why I did not want to just immediately jump in and chase the long, because if there's room for the gap fill, now it just set up a VWAP short. So I'm not looking in the other direction. Read that first couple of minutes in there and be able to take action. The other place on proxy, if I can get it, here is going to be SMCI. Just came through VWAP and just did a false break of the high, of the pre-market highs in there, and now underneath the volume-weighted average price as well. So which one of these two am I going to be able to get in first to add to IBIT, which I am not long, I am short. Is the market coming right back in here? And Apple, by the way, just before we throw back, Apple has retested the $300 level, still hasn't broken 300 here on Apple. So it looks like it has a better chance of testing the even dollar here. With the market pulling back in, it wouldn't surprise me if it did a false break first, like not bounce off it like it did the first time. Like maybe a false break of 300 and then it contributes.
All right, yeah.
How's it working? Well, that's at least right.
Well, your short DRAM there.
Yeah, it's just the
AMZN.
It's just the IBIT that's wrong.
Yeah, I guess it was your last transaction they probably
Exactly.
hit you with,
That's all
right?
it's
So yeah, so you taking a little bit of profit off the table there. We like this on this Friday morning, guys. I mean, what are we at? 9:41, so we're 11 minutes after the open. No positions for myself just yet. Again, we're going to be patient and wait for that high quality opportunity in that setup. Now we bounced off of 200 NVDA. We talked about that. We are now south of the volume weighted average price here on Meta and the Nasdaq itself. So let's keep an eye out on that. But we have Amazon hovering above VWAP now. I was saying to Neil, apes strong together, right? So let's take a look at how some of these memory names are doing, Neil, on the day sliding. See, as these guys move in tandem, you can see that the market, they're just so heavily weighted together that they do have the ability to drag the market down with it. So Micron selling, Dell. I mean, how is SK Hynix? What an absolute disaster from this ADR release. That thing was cut in 35%. Man, I just don't like seeing that type of stuff, to be honest with you.
SK Hynix is bleeding right now.
Yeah.
But it's almost filled in. It's almost filled in this gap here. If we can come to my charts for a second. See that gap here on SK Hynix? 152 was the prior high.
Oh,
look at that trend reversal. It's absolutely nasty, and now the market's starting to tank.
Yeah, look at SK
not gotten
Go.
filled on the bid.
Look at SK Go.
Just a quick update. I want the gap fill on almost all of these. So I want the gap fill into here on SMCI, on DRAM. I was trying to add to it and wasn't able to here, just under that 54, so we didn't get all in. But the gap fills to 52.5 on that bad boy. And then IBIT, I am short IBIT, not long IBIT. And that one, I mean, obviously IBIT doesn't have the same kind of volatility or the same kind of levels, but I am looking for the gap fill on the two chip-related names. Also, just for everyone watching right now, as the market is coming back in, only now are you getting in and pulling back to VWAP on Amazon. I think the concern would be Amazon breaking this upward trend from about 830. These guys led the way on earnings. Like, they're supposed to be this is the savior. This is the Dundada today. So if this loses VWAP, it's a little bit more oomph. So as I said, DRAM, gap fill, it's there now. Stick to rules. Gonna get out of this. I'm gonna hold. IBIT to me is an all-day short. DRAM is play to the low, look for a bounce. Next available bounce into VWAP, we're gonna short that as well. So same thing with SMCI. The short's coming in, but, and I'm gonna give you a big but, the NQ has not broken support. So yes, initial shorts have worked. It's only 945. You see me, I'm always like take a profit and look for the next trade kind of person. But if we're not breaking through these lows on the NQ, I'll zoom in so you can see better. There's still a chance that we could bounce, either grab more shorts or wait for us to break down and then add even lower. So there's lots of ways to be able to play this for continuation. I got to respect the fact that while DRAM fell all over itself, SMCI doesn't seem to want to fill in this gap all the way to the bottom. Just going to leave the bid, see if we get a fill, throw it up to Adair.
We do have Chicago PMI guys coming through at 9:45 a.m. One of the more closely watched prints we're going to get today in just 8 seconds. Forecast for Chicago PMI 56. Prior 56.7, so expecting a slight decline for the month of July. We're going to get that at any moment now. That Chicago PMI print, just waiting for this to populate at 10 a.m. Of course, you also get the University of Michigan consumer sentiment 57.6 for Chicago PMI, above estimates of 56, above the prior print of 56.7. Market not really pausing its descent that we've had over this last 10 minutes or so. If I get any more details, I'll keep you posted. But it is also worth noting, apparently the 30-year and 10-year yields are at highs right now for the U.S. Back to you.
Good for the market either, Derek. Yields up, market down. So listen, this is where I was thinking about going on a long with the Nasdaq. We took an attempt on it, and it was just really quick, right? We used the lows as our base to get out, and once it cracked, we just got absolutely out of dodge here and headed over to somewhere else. Now, I got my eyes on Meta for a recovery, but with the path that we're on in some of these memory names, it's not looking pretty for the overall market at this given second, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, let's be patient and wait for some more opportunity. I mean, we were up mid-single digits, and a lot of these moves have been erased. Here's SanDisk, Neil.
That's not even right.
Oh, yeah, the position?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's actually worse now.
46% to the downside off of those highs. Just be cautious of all of this stuff here as the market just put in a new low. We're still hovering around some of the, we're just hovering below the volume weighted average price in Meta. So I don't know if this is any form of, or sign of strength. But again, once you have these memory and these storage names moving in tandem to the south side, it's going to make it a lot more difficult for this market to find any form of a recovery.
No, it's looking pretty nasty. So position board, we'll try to get it updated. But like I actually just got out of IBIT, of the IBIT short. So it just pulled into this gap. So Wednesday's lows just got tagged. So we're out of that one. SMCI, that's correct. I'm still in SMCI because got that top. You know what? No, I want to hold this one and look for a place to add because I feel like what am I looking at there? No. 27.65 is the ultimate bottom, so I should be looking to add in this candle if I can. So if I can get something in the 50s, like 45 to 50s, I want to add to SMCI because that's a big topping tail. I think we should be heading down into $27.50. Now the Nasdaq's underneath that support line. That makes all the sense in the world to me. Chain reaction, I see your super chat, but I think things have been like a little bit delayed. So I'm just going to drop it up here instead of trying to put it on the screen. Yeah. Just letting you know, RKLB is, okay, is still a POS stock.
It's fair.
That's fair enough. Thanks for letting us know. I suppose that saves me from having to call it up. I'm guessing it's going down right now. Let's go to Adair.
Keep an eye on Figma here, guys. No news on this, but I'm nothing if not sentimental, so I want to wish Figma a happy birthday. It went public this day last year, Thursday, July 31st, 2025, and as of right now, actually green today, though, of course, well below both its IPO price of $33, its opening price of $85, and its high of the day on its birthday, just below 125. So FIG and Focus, this is not a move that a lot of the market is doing, and I looked at other software names like Adobe. They're not doing this either, so interesting look for Figma. Back to you.
Speaking of IPOs, Jersey Mike's is going higher even with the market going lower. So if you're looking for some relative strength, in Jersey Mike's, you shall find it here, up 3.5%. Successful-ish IPO if you took the opening trade, but it ended up, the issue price was 23, and it ended up opening at 21. So it actually ended up down. That 23 will be a big level if you happen to be watching it. But there's a serious bleed continuing here. Maybe not that, like the Nasdaq still 0.3 to the upside. Look at Micron. So much for this, so much for them actually holding some of this gap in the prior bars. They're doing none of that whatsoever. So Micron's dumping. Now, we didn't really spend too much time on Nvidia with memory and Apple and Amazon being in focus, but that tagged 200 on a dime. 09 is the literal high, and now coming back in pretty heavily. I feel like I should have.
Oh, Sandisk went negative.
Why did I cover IBIT?
Wow.
Covered IBIT to hold on to SMCI and add there, and I didn't get the add on SMCI as that one continues to fall even further. So, yeah, the shorts are in, man.
Wow.
It's one of those. The market might not be red yet, but at this rate, it's just a matter of time. The ES just got to flat. Market is falling.
All right, yo, we got a massive super chat here. This is insane. I don't know.
Pug Life, get it.
No, Pug Life. What's going on? Made a, no. Never mind the luck, right? This is when preparation meets opportunity. So you were prepared. Made a lucky Apple ER play, 315 puts up. 315 puts up 1,500% this morning at $100, sold at $1,500 or $15 there, and 332 put bought at $630 and sold at $3,250 for just over 500% wins. I take these as blessing as these plays don't come too often. Spreading the karma. Yeah, much appreciated, brother. I mean, you're an absolute beauty, and congratulations to you, truly, for putting up those types of numbers, man. You and I both know it is not easy doing that. We're going to take one more attempt here on the Nasdaq, a little bit more size than the first one. I like the buying pressure that we've seen. We have to be prepared to get out early, but Pug Life, we're not going to allow this to go unrecognized, all right? $100, thank you very much. Neil, do I have to say it again? Don't spend it all in one place, guys. Make sure you put a little bit away for the rainy day.
Obviously, I was joking when I said
yeah. Obviously, we know that you're joking. Don't go to the car dealership or spend it on junk food or anything along those lines. Just be smart, just so you can back and return us with another day. As he's eating a cookie, you sly dog, you. All right, guys. Dead 4N. Absolutely printed on my Apple 310, put 1,600% gain. This is what we were talking about this morning, ladies and gentlemen. The returns on the moves outside of the implied move are absolutely crazy and phenomenal. That's when you hit those 4-digit, 3-digit returns. Congratulations to everyone here in the chat. Adam James abroad. Listen, brother, I don't want to hear the boom. It's already 9:51. Casey, Bovin, and everyone else in the Tisha Perkins have been here since 8 a.m. sharp, hitting the boom. You're late to the dance. No, I'm obviously being sarcastic, but thank you once again, brother. Boom, FCUV. You want the tap? You shall receive the tap, as this trade here in the TQs is really starting to work out for us here, Neil. FCUV, let's pull that bad boy up. We're going to look to take a little bit profit here momentarily. I was talking about we had more size than the initial one. We have to be cautious just in case this is a temporary bounce and we curl back over.
Well, I think you got the long at the exact right spot. I'm out. We took out the last of the shorts was SMCI. That just closed the gap. Going to hunt for the next trade. I still feel like we're looking at an overall false break here, lower highs. Can I pull this over? See, I want to center that. No, it's not letting me. So pull back. Going to look for maybe something into the volume weighted average price to continue that trade. IBIT, this was the one that I'm not happy with because I kind of looked at this area from Wednesday and said, okay, if it bounces there, we'll get out and then just jump back on the offer. And now you're continuing to go down. So as one bounces, probably the right call to get out. The other one, absolutely not. Amazon, sorry, everybody. If you were thinking that you can keep these guys down, apparently not. Amazon's still going in through the highs. So I thought this capitulating would take us lower. Everything went lower. Yeah. Amazon didn't capitulate. Amazon bounced, maybe tricking me by using it as some kind of a weird indicator for the sentiment this morning, and then got me out of the shorts there, which I think might have been a bit of a mistake. So Amazon's still looking relatively strong. Apple, because I was engaged elsewhere, I'll just slap the fail on this one. Because Apple did bounce off the 300. But you know, you're looking at multiple things at the open. You're usually going to do one or two at a time. Can't really take that Apple off 300 if you're shorting those other names. So if anyone got the Apple 300, it did bounce through VWAP and is rejecting the pre-market low, and here and now resuming potentially the downtrend. Let's see if it can hold. If it holds VWAP, there can be continuation. But that 300 level, that's exactly where it's meeting that 10% down marker. Plus, it's Friday, big psychological level, obviously big strike price as well for AAPL. The last one that is on the radar, have not made a trade on. Of course, Reddit did the bottoming tail candle right away. Was already in position again, but it's given you the VWAP retracement and stalled at 150. Now this almost turns into a short form.
Yeah, we can't.
On
I
Reddit
can't do
VWAP.
anything. I gotta hop out of this here as we crack through the low of the day. We won't be able. Yeah, it's really weak, man. I think it's really revolving around the storage names. I mean, I don't want to continuously try to lead horse to water, or however the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. But that's the narrative of what we got going on. With the market heading lower, it's really difficult to find a sustained long, especially when these guys are bleeding so rapidly.
I say my thoughts on when the market decides it wants to be like a heavy sell day.
Yeah.
It's if you're looking for longs, if you're not looking at reverse ETFs, go find a small capper.
No, it's true.
I think that's a lot of times you're able to find counter trend a lot easier in stocks that do not care what the broad market is doing.
Yeah.
And on that note, FCUV is up 723%, and now it's $16.
17.
And I raised my voice a little bit because you guys don't know this, but I know this. I wasn't aware of this story, and it was picking up volume. I didn't even have it up, and then I hear in my left ear, it's a long through $5. By the time I even called the name up, it was already at 7. And if you know who's in my left ear, it was Joe.
Man, that's
Punch
crazy.
that long next. Because I don't really look at these small pre-market, but it's at $17 right now.
I know, man. That's crazy. I was like, oh, the $5 break is incoming, and then now we're talking $10 later.
FOMO, anybody?
Yeah, I know, man. That's it. Well, I mean, at least Casey and some of the people in the chat got to take advantage of that, man. If not us, then them. And I think we're both happy about that. But yeah, it would have been a really, really good opportunity for us this morning. I mean, 1644. Adam James is involved with this.
Tisha,
Casey,
you better be at the beach.
Kisha, yeah. Well, they're gone.
Casey, they're all gone.
I haven't seen Casey in the chat.
Yeah, but it's at 17. You're probably still in this thing.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not? You trail it, man. You leave that runner and just it's risky, right? Because you're subjected to the halt. So, but by all means, congratulations to everyone who's been riding this FCUV wave. It's absolutely monstrous, and I'm looking to get involved with it. We're running right back, guys. So again, if we run into the supply zone, if I'm fortunate enough to get this at 64.60, considering we have about 50% more size than we had on this initial position, then we're going to look to take a little bit off here. So there it goes, bang. We're running right into our level that we are looking at here. I'm going to post up just so we get exactly what we want, 64.60. And then sure enough, let's pray to the trading gods themselves that they'll run into this order here.
Ooh, the trading gods.
Yeah.
And we have a headline from the Exxon CEO. Remember, we got reports out of ExxonMobil and Chevron this morning. They don't move that much. Expect Hormuz to reopen, but timing is unclear. Ooh, oil's probably heading to the downside there. Ooh.
Yeah.
Not much.
Let's go.
Here, I'm on
60s.
DRAM.
Yes.
All right, I got to forget about this for a second. Let me just worry about executing first. Get me into DRAM off that double bottom. If you're watching yesterday, you know I have a line on my chart there, but there's USO only very slightly moving down. There is USO. It's not doing anything on that headline, so thank you very much for the Exxon CEO telling us nothing. So 5150 on this name is just an overall support level that was resistance a few days ago. So it bounced cleanly here, back through 52. I want to play this, give it to the low, but again, initially, the idea was to be short on that false break. If we end up breaking this low, then I got to be out of Dodge and not fighting it. SMCI did not pop to give me some kind of an entry at all. We have a super chat from AdCentric.
Oh, no.
Looking at IESC for long term. What levels are reasonable for entry? Also, thoughts, please. So anytime we are talking about a name like IES Holding, I don't own it. I'm not really looking at it. I'm not going to give you a fundamental story or look at it, but we can always look at the levels. I don't like chasing a breakout personally. That's just not my cup of tea. Up 24%, I think, is a bit of a chase. Sometimes you'll want it to settle down. I do generally like the 50-period moving average, 200-period more, but you at least have this prior resistance at 675, which allows you to say, well, if it holds that for a couple of days on a pullback, well, then you've got some technical support here. What you don't want to happen is you chase a move and then it just fills in the gap down here somewhere, and it's the 200 period that matters more. So I think that's generally my thoughts, but I would say the same thing. I'm never chasing a move like this. I believe I heard that we're going to Adair. Hey, it's almost 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess I can just stick here till happening now in numbers. That's fine. Sorry about the timing there, guys. A little bit off. But keep an eye here on USO. USO in focus, an Israeli official saying that Israel's not going to be withdrawing from the yellow line in Gaza unless Hamas undergoes, quote, genuine disarmament. A little bit of an uptick here in USO, so just be aware these comments are coming through. But let's prepare here for, and I'll just switch this chart to the Nasdaq so we can see the reaction immediately afterwards. We've got at this point less than 60 seconds until we get the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment print. So we are expecting 54 here as the forecast. Prior print is 54.4. This is the final UMich Consumer Sentiment print for July here. And then you got the 1-year and 5-year inflation prints. 1-year inflation expectation, forecast 4.3%, prior 4.2%. 5-year inflation expectation, forecast 3.3%, prior 3.3%. So again, what we're expecting here is maybe a little bit lower than previous for that University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment print, inflation more or less in line. So we get 4.2% here for the 1-year inflation forecast. That's going to be a little bit below what we were expecting, 3.3% for the 5-year. That's in line with estimates. And consumer sentiment, 55.2. That is above the forecast of 54. So generally, pretty good look, I would say, here for University of Michigan. This print is telling us that consumers are a little bit more optimistic, and inflation concerns are more or less where they were last month. Nasdaq not reacting too much here. Again, USO is going to be on watch here all day. But the reason for this Nasdaq drop is we did have a drop in the biggest name in the market, or at least it was prior to this report. That's Apple. AAPL going all the way from 336 yesterday, touching 340 after the bell on or before the earnings call, and then dropping all the way to nearly $300. Sales guidance was weak. They also had other issues, including missing on services, missing on Greater China revenue, despite posting year-over-year growth for both, and maybe some concerns here as well. This is Tim Cook's last quarter. So we have John Turnus, who we haven't seen too much of. He'll be coming to join Apple September 1st, and of course for that next quarterly report. Amazon also reported, as did Roblox, Reddit, Rivian, First Solar, Moderna, CVX, ExxonMobil, and some crypto names like MSTR and Coinbase. Coinbase missing on EPS estimates. They missed on sales. They missed on revenue for both of their main business categories. Dropped year over year for sales and all of their revenue categories. It's hard to find any bright spots with COIN, and the chart really reflects that weakness. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Back over to Joe and Neil.
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, Neil was like, man, look at Google Go, look at Amazon Go. Amazon, Google, both respectively at the high of the day. I post up at 64.20s near the lower end of the range, and I'm like, what's going on here? Well, what we have is pretty much sideways price action going on in AAPL, NVDA heading towards the low of the day. Meta can't seem to find its footing. So when you have this push and pull, you have this insane movement within the Nasdaq to the downside, it seems. And I know I've been talking about it throughout the whole intraday session, but you go from being positive 5%, now you're negative 3.5%. Western Digital, same thing, 5%. Now you're negative there. I think we're going to have to abandon this thesis here on the longs with the TQs, guys. This is our third attempt. We had one of them work. Now this is not working for us.
Absolutely, and I'm going to get out. Should have returned into the short here just very quickly. We bought the dip on DRAM. I was just getting filled, and I didn't want to interrupt or anything, but was just getting filled at 1-to-1 when we broke into the low. So obviously we're still headed to the downside here. Fed's Logan, who voted for the 25 basis point hike on Wednesday, modest Fed action in the near term would reduce the likelihood of needing sharper action later. One of the reasons that is important is because there are a couple of hikes potentially in the next meeting if you go out and look at what the money markets are saying to you. But you know what? It's a lot of action in the market. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but there's a lot of action, a lot of volatility in these markets, and everyone's trying to take advantage of it. So there's some offers out there, but you're not getting this one from your broker. And that's going to be trade the pool. giving you things beyond just discipline, giving you access to capital so you can take advantage of the bigger opportunities that are out there. So instead of having the limitations of your personal account size, you can access the firm's capital, trade on that, and focusing on executing your strategy and managing your risk. You're not going to be afraid of blowing up your personal account. You're not going to move your stop loss because you're risking your own savings. This is called limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, visit tradethepool.com. You can scan the QR code in front of you and take advantage of these market moves. Take advantage of the cookies that are delicious, as Randy is reminding us here. I still have one, because Joe doesn't eat cookies, Randy, so I had to eat all of them.
Nice.
Joe literally, for the viewers that if you have not seen this program before, Joe doesn't eat apple pie, doesn't eat cookies. Probably
that's
down.
a good question.
I don't know. Randy just asked if Rivian was going down. Is Rivian going down? So this is how Rivian's doing, Randy. I don't know if you can see that. It was up 2 points. Now it is down 5.
Oh.
The good news is, look at the support down here.
Thanks, electrical trade.
Well, I don't know about buying the, look, as a trade goes, now you're forcing me to look at this, because I even said down here, if we get down there at the support level, show me a bottom tail candle and give an entry back through 16. VWAP is 2 points away. That actually makes a little bit of sense. Oh, thank you for tricking me out of IBIT overthinking things. Trailing stop, huh?
Randy, did you
cancel
tamper
that
with the
VWAP
thermostat?
offer.
Did you tamper with the thermostat this? Oh my God! I knew it was this guy, man. Yeah, we're freezing, dude. Come on, we're
Thanks, Randy.
We're Ramin's
Thanks,
cold,
Randy.
man. As long as it.
Yes, it is cold.
It's chilly, dude.
The market's
It's
not going to
the
be heating
summer.
us up.
Yeah,
all the red tape
the
that you
market
see
is-
doesn't exactly heat up the room, Randy.
Yeah, Randy. It's just all the red across the board. This is why we get out. Ramin, it's perfect. Okay, all right, that's fair. Let's see if we can get a little bit warmer in here. I'd rather be a little bit warm than just, you know what I mean? We got a show to do over here, Ram. But anyways, aside from that, guys, really, really tough look in the broader market. I mean, this one, we had more size than we had on that one. This was our second largest position. And I had a hunch that we were going to run into a little bit of trouble with this long. So 3 attempts, 3 at-bats, 3 attempts at the plate here, Neil. Even though it looks like it might want to bounce here, we're going to avoid this one. I do like what I'm starting to see in META for a little bit of a recovery. So maybe we'll stick to an actual individual stock instead of the overall market itself. Again, it is one of the weaker names, so it's a struggle, and we're not necessarily making things overly easy on ourselves this morning, even though that's what we would prefer to do, Neil. But there it is, right back towards the lower day, about to blow through this signal. So yeah, the selling continues, and I'll say it again, in the memory names and the storage.
Yeah, they're absolutely flushing. I mean, everything
5%
is
on
flushing.
SanDisk. Holy cow.
Look, you have to put things into some perspective. Again, I don't know. You can get FOMO because I got out of 3 shorts and then tried 1 long there. And I probably will take a shot at that Rivian, but I'm going to be pretty patient about it. We're getting back to 10 o'clock yesterday. So if we go 24 hours ago, Micron was 820. So this is basically giving up a lot of the move, but not necessarily all the moves. So I'm going to go into the mode of what is not breaking down all the way and giving you an opportunity. One of those things, Apple is still double tapping the 300. That's still going to be in play. I already mentioned Rivian has made a low and is at a support level after their earnings. Haven't traded in Reddit today because that's absolutely bleeding. The only SSR bounce was right away on Reddit. So there's no entry now. I think that's like a falling rock at this point. Roblox was the other earnings name this morning. And this is even worse. Roblox is now 30% down. I thought there was a 0% chance that $30 level on the daily could get hit, but if we see 30, too big a level. I like mean reversion. If I see $30 on Roblox today, you zoom out on the daily, that's way too big of a gap. Here, I can just show it to you. Oh, no, I can't. I have to use a weekly chart. Roblox is so bad that I got to pull out a weekly chart to show you $30 right here, going back into, I guess that would be like, what, May? Yeah, May of 2024. So if we get it's crazy to say another 10% down, but we're down 30, so there's always a chance we could see lower. It is flush city.
It
flush,
is.
Flush.
Look at
city.
my. Someone in the chat.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's so ugly.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There's this. I did not see like this happening. Like I'm thinking, okay, we'll play an opening trade, and if let it bounce because there's so many dip buyers in these markets that we'll get in again, and instead look at this flush. Like it's just way further than I would have anticipated. Friday. I even said I think we have a bit of an inside day. We'll go for some scalp trades. They all set up, and they turned into these ridiculous holes. So just have to be patient because I'm not stepping in and catching this falling knife at this point to give back what the shorts made would just be ridiculous because that would be FOMO. FOMO would be saying I got out too early and then immediately forcing some trade that just doesn't make sense. Right? Like that'd be silly. Yes, could have had 3 times as much on the shorts, but you can't go back in time.
No, I mean, it's really, really, I mean, it's not getting any prettier. Someone in the chat said, they're like, memory buyers step in. And I'm like, they're all liquidated. There's no one to step in and buy this stuff back up, man. I mean, the majority of them lost their money. It's sad. It's not funny. Like it's a laughing pain, like and not a happy giggle. I wanted to take a long here. I didn't pull the trigger. What's that? That it's me? I was laughing. Laughing.
No, Andre in my ear.
Okay. So this is what I was looking at here, guys. Listen. Gore, this was the play right here. I think it's best we avoid the Nasdaq on some of these bounces. With that being said, this might be the one. But this print right here is on METU I was looking at, and I just never pulled the trigger because we were messing around with the Nasdaq here this morning. So if you like your meta long idea, brother, I mean, there it is now. We can head over to a higher time frame and see what we have going on. You can see that we're still struggling to break and hold the volume weighted average price. Clear support system at 542. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. But yeah, another low, Neil. In this, I mean, and the Kospi, I don't think yesterday was that. Last night was that weak, but it doesn't even matter at this point. It's just getting really, really ugly. And this massive 20% gap up, or that 20% move or 15% move that we seen yesterday is almost evaporated at this point.
It's amazing what Amazon's doing right now.
50, Amazon is
it's amazing.
It's still holding, right? Like, and same thing with Google, up 3, and like Google, it's around the highs on almost 4%, and Amazon up 14%. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, look, the fact that Amazon's holding the line here is at least a good sign. That's the thing that I think I let trick me out a little bit, was the fact that this didn't want to break down. Felt like if they were going to hold the gains here, then you would get some bounces elsewhere. But we're starting to see a few more capitulatory candles. I just saw IBIT made a bottoming tail. So here, before I got to execute first, and then I'll flip the chart there to you guys. So IBIT just did that 3-minute candle, more volume than the open, followed by green. So again, obviously, it would have been nice to have held the short. You're also pulling right back effectively into Tuesday's bottom here and then catching a bit of a bid. We've already broken 63,000. So yeah, just a little bit of it's like a mean reversion type of trade because, as I said, you can't really, well, I mean, look, if you have a DeLorean and you can go back in time, more power to you. But you can't be sitting there, sort of crying over spilt milk. You just got to work to whatever the next available opportunity is. And when you hammer down like that, it's always, for myself, it's always going to be a mean reversion trade. So I'm like, you heard me say, I'm looking for the next crazy bottoming tail candle, and then that's going to be the entry, whatever does it first. SMCI did not. SMCI, you stink when you slow down and there's still no buyers. Like, look at this candle. Like, look at that rejection. Nobody's buying that candle on SMCI? Nobody? Really? That's how you know it's a weak stock. But I bet at least they're trying.
AXTI?
Okay. Let me actually pop into the mid-50s here because you're running into resistance trying to close this gap. It's basically trying to close the gap on this 3-minute candle up to 58, and it's not even doing it. And now I'm chasing it even further down. That's how weak this market is.
What are you in at, brother?
Uh-oh. Randy's got another name that he's trying to give to us over there. Oh, by the way, remember when I joked around about saying, yeah, you don't get what you wish for with the lunches.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, when I wish for tacos, we don't get tacos.
And you wish for burgers.
It's tacos today.
Oh, it's Taco Friday. It's funny, both the days that you took off, the Fridays that you had, it was burgers on each one. Those are the only 2 times.
Whenever I take off a day,
those are the only 2 ones that we got. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
You guys enjoy the burgers?
I don't. The first round were pretty good. I didn't mind them.
What's wrong?
Yeah, I'm just not a burger person. Maybe that's what it is.
I'm a big.
I don't ever want to diss on the catering.
I'm a big burger connoisseur. I love.
I'm not really a burger.
Yeah.
Really?
I always find them kind of.
How about like chicken sandwiches? Not your thing.
Chicken sandwiches are slightly better, but for me, sometimes if I'm not in the right mood, it's just not good.
It's not your thing. Yeah, I'm a big burger guy.
I pretty much always go for a burger.
Yeah, man. Yeah, same at any given moment.
Well, the reason I like the burgers here is like it's you can't really mess up.
I love a good
It's hard to mess up a burger. So whatever. Friday tacos, I get it. It's supposed to be Taco Tuesdays, but I'll take the tacos whenever we're able to get them if we're being real about it.
For sure.
Just want to peruse over to one other earnings name we have not been covering, but look at Apple hold the line as well. The market's still falling. ES at lows, making fresh. Oh, again? Thought I turned that off. For anyone that doesn't know what just happened, it's that thing where I go to drag a chart over and ended up shaking it. And then Windows, I swore I turned that off yesterday, but it might be back on. The ES is still making fresh lows. Just wanted to show you guys. We're still dropping here. No signs of relief on the 15-minute, but Apple's holding a higher low. So in addition to this IBIT, which is challenging right back at entry, like it's still valid. Like, see that bottom tail, like it's holding on, but just barely. Like, if you lose that wick, I need to be out of this. If we lose this wick here, I'll just jump out because you got a little bit of a reprieve and now it just wants to head lower. I don't even know if this is going to be the one. I think it's the right place to have tried it, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the right idea if we lose that wick. I'm just going to leave my stop. It's a couple cents underneath and go back to the Apple story because if the market's going to bounce here, I got to remind myself that Bitcoin was relatively weak and the market can bounce easily without Bitcoin going. But I like what Apple is trying to do with this higher low. It's not 300, it's actually 301 and change that it's hanging on to. But notice it's not making fresh lows with the market. It's making a higher low when the market's pressing current lows. So that works.
Yeah, for sure. Gorb, I see exactly what you're looking at here, brother. I got my eyes on it as well, too. No, I think like the question for me now is just being, I don't know why that's up there, but anyways, aside from that is, are we going to be able to hold this level? There we are, right? So we're getting close to some consolidation, some consolidative bases here. I like this. Some other levels here, some poor levels as we go back throughout the week here on NVDA, but look at it, it's just right back towards the lower end of this wick. And once the majority of the wick is filled, I think that at some point you're going to see a new low of the day. I removed the TQs off of my chart just because we took our swings at the plate. We had our at bat and we were fortunate enough to make some contact on one of the trades there, but it just didn't pan out after that. Meta is actually holding up relatively well. I could have posted up at 1820s again via METU, and then maybe we could have got that bounce. So a nice recovery in this name at least. We'll take it. Some buying pressure is starting to uptick, Gorev. So maybe we start relatively small here on NVDA for any form of a bounce. So what I'm going to do is post up at 80s and see if we can catch a fill. 27.80. Oh, okay, no, that's a little bit too far away. 27.85 we're going to go at here to see if we're going to get that bounce. I don't want to pay anything more than that. The volatility should allow us to get that fill, but if not, then so be it. I'm okay with that. We're going to remove that. I told you guys we made some contact with the ball earlier in the day, earlier stop out, but then when we add more size, we just get out when we were supposed to on that bad boy. But there goes NVDL. Great call out at that level, Gaurav, man. That's really starting to get that bounce. So you can hit the boom on that one, my brother. Really great call out on NVDA for a potential bounce here.
There you go. So I did get into that Apple here. I was going to hit, I don't have a boom button. I was going to hit the bang for you.
We need a boom or something.
We don't need.
We got the bang?
A bang, boom. What difference does it make?
It's a big difference, man. Which one's louder?
Huh?
Which one with a bang or a boom? Which one do you think is louder?
Is that a trick question?
No, it's not really quick. There's no real answer to the question.
No, there isn't an answer. Yeah, whichever one you play louder. I don't know. It's a word.
Some people are saying boom is louder.
You're just straight up confusing.
All right.
What if the Law and Order
That is very
Yeah,
confusing.
we got the Law and Order sound as well, too.
How did we get there?
See, Tick understands what I'm getting at. Makes a major difference.
What makes
right?
a major difference?
Someone like, what?
No, that's the. Nah, man, it's the
Bang
same
is like
thing.
Small. Yeah, why are we down?
That's the
See,
same
joke,
thing.
Boom. You know.
It's the same. No, I'm gonna stick with that as the same thing.
I have to listen to the chat.
And you're not convincing me otherwise.
Oh, that's
doesn't
mad.
Make a difference.
That's mad disrespect.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't say. It's the same thing. Boom.
You
bang,
see what C.K. Ripley
Here
said?
comes the boom. What?
I'll let you read it, but he said boom
Oh, yeah.
You get it? It's
Look, I get it.
Bomb is
I get it.
Right.
I'm older than some people around here, so
Yeah,
maybe some things go over the old head.
We don't need to go down
noggin.
that road, man.
Looks like that DFNS stock is T3 defense. Oh, so Apple, want to look for VWAP in here. I was looking to reload and kind of missed the mark here at 31.5. We'll try to get it a second time if it goes. DFNS has halted to the upside this time. So down, this is not a typo, it's down 58% because the last few days have been obviously absurd. If you've been watching DFNS, so it had a consolidated day yesterday and then tanked overnight and then follow through. 36.75. Check that, $37 now the current theoretical auction price. So it's halted up and indicating an up open for anyone that happens to be looking at T3 defense. I have the volume weighted average price. You can tell how much Apple's down. Like, look at the scaling. I have to zoom so far in. So I'm looking at VWAP for the next potential exit on Apple. And then also just jumping back over to the strength that's going on with Amazon, man. Like, look at Amazon just hold the line.
I know.
There's something special about the buyers on Amazon right now. The market continues to look weak, and Amazon just continues to hold. Like, the profit taker is seemingly non-existent here in Amazon. They dripped hard when it came to obviously the memory chip names. And then if you extend that over to some of the bigger runners like Bloom yesterday, that dipped pretty hard, but now that's on the comeback trail as well. So the market's catching a little bit of a bid here. So hopefully that can energize Apple up to the volume weighted average price. It looks like it did, at least a little bit. And it's gonna move the offer because don't think I didn't see you at the even, just above the even dollar,
wow,
that big offer there. So we're getting a little bit of a bounce here in the market. Still gonna be red. The ES is still gonna be red. Apple needs to prove it can get through that volume weighted average price. You were saying Nvidia?
Yeah, well, I posted up, like I kept lifting up my offer there, Neil, but it's just gone now at this point. It's unfortunate. I mean, it is what it is. We're not going to complain about it or anything, but that was the move that we were looking for here. I was posted it. We could have punched, but I was being stingy on the price on that one. So yeah, a really nice move back in towards the volume weighted average price. And it's funny, as the market finds a little bit of a recovery, what we're starting to see here is a pullback in Amazon, Neil, but still holding the line very well is AMZN just above the volume weighted average price. Apple is doing nothing here. So it's definitely just one of those sessions where it's extremely cool, and we'll keep an eye out on that. I'm off back to my platform. All right, Andrew, have a good one, man. Nice call there, Gaurav. I don't matter though if you're, I don't know, Joe, don't matter though if you're scalping. I don't really know what you're saying there, brother. Nimit, what's up, brother? How you been doing? I haven't seen you in the past couple of days, even though Sharif might have gave you a shout out yesterday. I hope all is well, but man, don't worry about what Joey O is doing, all right? We're gonna wait for our opportunities, and we're gonna get involved in some trades throughout the day. There's plenty of time left. I mean, we're not even an hour into the session. We've already taken 3 stabs on the Nasdaq. Market finally starting to find some form of a recovery.
I have to give a shout out.
Give a shout out.
Only because of the recent conversation that was going on. Yeah. I want to give a big shout out on TikTok to Bitcoin Trader TV.
What's he saying?
Not because of the name, but because you said no hair looks great, Baldy.
Oh.
I'll take it. Because I don't care how it was meant, but we're gonna go with it's the bald brotherhood today. Man. I actually, when Joe said he was covering for Sean today, I turned to Joe. I said, "Should I shave it?"
Yeah, absolutely.
The bald brotherhood is
someone blocked this guy.
Randy up in here as well. That's what he's doing. Yes, it does. I think it makes it look a little bit.
Who welcomed him?
Younger, although it's a lot of shine going on.
It is very shiny. A lot of people saying that. Who invited this guy here? Who said welcome to Trader TV Live?
What up?
Big smile verified.
Also, welcome to
this guy.
The small cap recap, everybody.
Yeah.
There.
Oh.
They're small in market cap, but big in movement. Here are the small caps for the day. VCUV in focus. This accidental pun, because this company is literally called Focus Universal. They launched apparently a deterministic AI forms, which for auto-populate engine for autonomous business document processing. So AI-related announcement for FCUV. They've got a $7.6 million market cap. They've got a 600,000 share float, and they have a short float of about 4.5%. WETO in focus as well. WeTour Robotics. So this is actually an interesting day two play. I guess yesterday before the bell, they announced a 1-for-100 reverse split, or as they called it, a share consolidation. This is, again, the day after this now. This is currently trading around 12 cents per share. They've got a market cap of 10.63 million, a float of 65 million shares. Last but not least, Replimune. This name obviously giving back a lot of the move, but I want to talk about this gap up because it's interesting. Basically, there was a positive FDA panel vote. This company has struggled with positive votes from this FDA panel, so that was a good look for REPL with an $813 million market cap, 77.53 million share float, and 30.5% short float.
Why?
Sorry.
It's all right, man.
I don't have a crazy metabolism.
No, you do, man. I already know. I know your shape and your build and everything. Your metabolism is immaculate.
If you saw the rest of my, okay. First of all, it's a delicious cookie.
Yeah, no, the rest of your. I'm not saying that you don't have a good all-around diet, but let's see. You know that you have a pretty good metabolism because I remember you stating when you were a younger kid, really tough for you to gain weight.
Impossible.
Yeah, exactly. So there it is. You're just firing on all cylinders.
Dude, like my track coach in university was like, you straight up was like, you need to take some stuff.
That's funny too.
I don't know. I'm being dead. I was like 152 pounds in track season.
Yeah,
and
you know what I mean?
I couldn't put weight on.
So everybody. So big.
By the way,
welcome back.
We're fading VWAP on Apple.
Ooh.
Yeah, like so, no. It's fading VWAP, not I'm fading VWAP. I don't want to get that twisted. But here's what I'm seeing on Apple. That downtrend from the open, lower high, coincides with the volume weighted average price. So I'm trying to slip out of this and then look for the next opportunity in there. So we didn't get the absolute. 300 would have been the absolute bottom. Do I need to just move it by like 5 cents to get filled? Apparently true. So I wanted to get a dip buy in here and wasn't able to at 301, like 50 to 60. It just didn't really give you 301 half. I only ended up with 02s. So again, take the move that you can get, but it looks like to me that it wants to head right back in to the downside. I got a new trade because of what's going on in Bitcoin. I'm gonna be looking at BM&R now. I gotta go pay for some locates on BM&R, but given that this was like the strongest thing in the crypto space yesterday was BM&R, kind of want to look for the short if I can underneath 1687. Just look for like a tight stop short to sort of play the range back into the low. But I have to go pay for locates first.
Okay. Yeah. So here it is, guys. Here it is. It was only a matter of time. Everybody in the chat was getting prepared. Let me read this first before I read it out loud. It's not like you guys can't.
You know who it is.
All right. All right. It's hold on. Give me a second.
Big smile. The thing about some of your messages and super chats is we want to always be able to. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Here it is. It's up there. It's not too bad, man. Welcome back, Spile. I don't know who let you in, but you are here now. Nice to see the real deal, Neil and Powder hosting the show. LJS, it has been at least 3 days since I heard you talk about knocking that guy out with one lucky punch. No luck around here. Ram, cue the video. Tesla. What's going on with Tesla? Have you been short that name? Welcome back, brother, and thank you very much for that. Everyone was happy to see you back in the chat, including myself. I'll say it. I'm glad that you're doing well. And we could cue the video maybe during the midday or something along those lines. But Tesla, man, just getting absolutely destroyed. You're down another 1.6%, brother.
He's wrong.
What's that? He's just dead wrong, man. He's dead wrong, man. He's crazy. He's crazy. Zero respect for his boy whatsoever, man.
I know it's all in good fun.
It's all fun and games.
But that's the thing,
I call him One Piece.
No, like Big Smile's a liability.
He is a major
because
liability.
We appreciate all the super chats, but like you always have to read them first.
Yeah.
Just to be sure, because there's like a 99.9 repeating chance that it's going to be a little bit.
I mean, one day I wouldn't mind if you send something like, "Hey Joe, man, nice to see you, miss you, you're doing well." and all of that stuff. But again, yeah, if you expect things from other people, you're going to put yourself in the world of
he's
pain.
abducted by aliens.
Yeah, he's going to probably super chat with something else. But yeah, brother, Tesla has been getting absolutely destroyed. You've probably been buying some put contracts on this, so congratulations to you. And the way that it's looking right now, brother, we're going to crack and hold south of $300 on TSLA. Now, there goes another move in the in NVDA, guys, back towards the top side. Let's see if this is going to be the move where we break and hold the volume-weighted average price. I guess I have to lift another bid over here to 28.10. So let's get involved here. 28.10 is what we want on NVDA. Let's see if we're fortunate enough to get that one.
Yeah, sorry. Still chuckling a little bit here. So I'm looking for the things that have not bounced yet. Reddit has held the same bid for about 15 minutes or so with a one bottoming tail. So that's actually looking pretty appealing. And then Roblox, which also got absolutely, you go one too far in the drop down there. Sometimes that feature gets the best of me. Roblox, a bit of a different story. It's gently gliding higher, so I don't know about those two. I'm also considering going back over to DRAM, but I'm respecting the fact that I liked 51.50 for initial bounce after being short, and it's at the underside of that level.
You want a coffee?
So I want it breaking hard. If you're going to grab one, Charles.
Yeah, I'm going to grab one, brother.
Actually, espresso maybe.
Whoa,
yeah, thanks,
okay,
brother.
All right.
So I'm thinking if we get over 51.5, maybe take something breaking out this level and then play it into the volume-weighted average price instead. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. I do see, there's a couple of small cappers that are moving while we wait. I know there's that Sigil. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It's Concord International, CIGL, so I guess it's not really Sigil. So if I say Sigil, I mean this stock. The problem with this, volume good, it's 28 million shares, which is good, not over the top great for a stock that's only $1. But look at all of the halts. It has yet to show you that it can stay open and consolidate anywhere. It's basically going from halt to halt. So I'd look for a consolidation over $1 that gives you a little bit more cleanly action that you can play into. Because that one's just looking a little bit dangerous. Amazon is an absolute monster. This is the thing that psyched us out. Was the fact that Amazon, when it looked like Amazon was losing the bid, it just bounced and thought maybe the market could have bounced with it. It absolutely did not, but now Amazon's breaking the highs of the day. So as I said, DRAM is going to be the play. The only place I'm looking short is if I can finally get into Lucid or potentially that BM&R. But now you're starting to see a bit of a peak over this 51.5 on DRAM, but it needs to hold above that price for me. We have a super chat from Alan. Baba time to pivot to China. Ooh.
China.
Thanks, Andre. I don't even have that button, so I know you must have hit it. When it comes to Alibaba, I like Alibaba regardless. I just think they're the big winner. You get them at such a discount. They're basically it's like the Amazon in China, and you're getting them at a gigantic discount. So this is the one that I own, and this is the one that I like, so I'm kind of talking up my own book. But it's also, unlike the K-Web, it's just already putting in a reverse head and shoulders with a potential breakout play. What you do have to be concerned about is, it's hard to move on to China relations without first ending what's going on in Iran. It seems like the focus might not be there yet. We have a good chance. It's supposed to be a meeting soon. And I think that can be the next wave, but you're already still getting tit for tat back and forth. China can pull two levers, and they keep pulling those, which is limit rare earths and limit access to Nvidia and those chips. So that's what they're doing. So you just keep getting this back and forth between two that hasn't really ended yet. So that's the concern. Everything else I like about Baba. I like the chart. I like the company. You just want to see the focus get back to better relations there. Cheese in the chair says Google's flaunting that trench coat again today. Google has not somehow been enough attention here today. It's a weird one. It's not that weird because it's Amazon that reported earnings, but Alphabet just as good. And anything that you say positively about Microsoft or Amazon kind of applied to Google's quarter two, yet Alphabet didn't get the same rally, at least initially, on their earnings. But look at it ever since. It's every day long. Now, so they're catching a bid as well. And the memory names just don't want to go. See, now look at that candle. Oh, thanks, Joe. So look at that candle. Like this is telling me I should still be short this, not trying the long. Instead of holding above what I have for support, it's holding underneath. So I'll listen to the chart. It was the same thing when we're at VWAP up top here. I was looking for a long entry that turned into a trend break. And then once it did that, there's a fail at VWAP, there's it breaking the prior bar, it ended up being a short. So there's the fail at my support and resistance level, breaking the bar, and then it's going to end up being a short again. That's the thing, at a key price level, sometimes you're just willing to go in either direction and let the market tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at Amazon Go again, 271,
and Google.
87. Yeah, Google, exact same thing, brother. 4%, 15%. Holy schmoly, yeah, that's crazy. And I mean, there goes another move here on NVDA. I mean, what am I even doing looking at some of these names when all you had to do is what Neil was pounding the table about? And for some reason, I didn't register for myself. I guess that makes sense. 267, holding this VWAP line really well, and then just puts in a new high of the day. Some beautiful price action across the board here in Amazon and Google. So things are looking really good there. Let's see how the banks are performing today, Neil. I don't think we talked too much about the banks today. We did have Robinhood doing pretty good not too long ago, but I want to see what the larger part. Ooh, Robinhood down 2% again. Oh, I'm so glad. We sold a couple of days ago in the mid-90s or something along those lines. So we're fortunate for that. Completely emptied out the whole position. And we're sitting on some more cash. Caterpillar, slightly positive this morning. Here's Starbucks. I'm pretty sure I had a strong session yesterday. No, Starbucks not looking too good either. Chipotle Mexican Grill. We got Jersey Mike's Chipotle putting in a strong session. TKO Holdings. We're all out of that name too, guys. Full disclosure. But what I was getting at here is the bigger banks. How are we performing? How is the financial sector performing? And sure enough, I can't find a ticker to save my life, so we'll just type them in over here, Neil, and see what we got going on in JPM. Not too far off of the all-time highs. If we want to take a look at the broader picture and just head over to the XLF, nothing crazy. Slight gap up this morning, giving back the majority of that move, but the XLF not too far off of the all-time highs.
Just very quickly, Apple's breaking back in low. So remember, it got to that volume-weighted average price and pulling back. That was the last long I liked. It was a higher low into VWAP, but I don't think this is a place to fight it. Not there. With the market bouncing and the chips trying to go, I think it kind of sets up that reality where if we're buying chips and Apple's going lower. So we'll wait for 300 on that bad boy. And again, it could be the next trade, but DRAM has now set up a decent reversal up here. So I like that candle. You kind of made a double bottom, and you're just getting a little bit of a trend here. This gives me an entry with a really tight stop. Right? Like I can stop it right under this prior bar, which for DRAM is pretty solid risk to reward. I did say I was looking for a short in Lucid. Nothing has really happened in it yet, but I was hoping it would break this up and then give me a short at 78, but somebody's selling. A refresher is selling at $7.70, so haven't been able to catch any fills. So I'm not just going to sit in front of it. I know with the refresher because there's no size on the offer. So it's just like somebody sitting there with like a couple hundred shares and they won't let it break whatsoever. SMCI, I'm still thinking short though.
All right, so
that's another one. Like I feel like SMCI, I don't want to be long that stock. I want to be jumping back into the short if I can. It's just not really close enough to 28 yet. I stress the yet part.
Man, oh man, what a missed opportunity. Almost a big, man, that's a crazy. Posted up and we didn't time the pullbacks correctly. And there goes Amazon Gorb. At least you got it, brother. That's one thing that can count. I want to actually bring this super chat back up because it's still up there, the $100 super chat. I think all of them deserve to have, obviously, attention paid to them. But there it is. Once again, Pug Life enjoying his day with some big-time moves, respectively, in the names that he had. JAKA, $5 super chat. Reloaded the 200 NVDA calls and just sold for another 25K profit. Absolute massive day. Hey, man, I send you my email, and if you have any spare change, I'm obviously joking. No, congratulations. Yeah, loose change or anything. No, but in all seriousness, congratulations to you. It sounds like you made 1 1/4 over the span of a couple of sessions. But yeah, Big time stuff, man. I'm happy to hear that stuff. Hopefully,
for sure,
and that does you very, very well. I mean, that's
that Nvidia top was
not a small amount of change.
That Nvidia top was absolutely insane.
At
like
200?
If you're staring down just one stock for whatever reason, say Nvidia was your one today. I'm not saying it was directly in play. Most people probably would have thought memory would move a little bit more. The fact that it broke by like 10 cents, 9 cents, and then immediately right back down. That's that allow the opening range to tell you. Like it tried to go, but then once it sets here, that lower high, just boom.
Look at this,
into the short.
Like $200.
We'll pull that down and actually.
This is what I was talking about. Like this is when this stuff really comes into play. And then we were talking about this $200 marker having a supply zone with 65,000 contracts currently open at that. And then it also has the most amount of volume on the session. Look at that, 251,000 contracts open and closed on the session with at NVDA on that $200 marker. So yeah, great call out.
Yeah, and that's why we bring it up. And thank you guys all for all of the super chats. This will be an interesting one. Well, I said I would listen to what stock was telling me, and I still wanted to be short in SMCI. It just tried to break away from this resistance spot. So we just jumped in. And again, at this time of day, pretty tight stops is just the way I'm going to go. So when I see that topping tail, not really going to give it too much above. This is attempting to scalp the bottom end of the range and see if we can hold it just into this low. Right, like it's double bottom this low. You look at where all the chop was yesterday. So I feel like we're in a range where if we go chopping around, there's a couple of points to the downside that we have here in SMCI. And then where with DRAM? We opened up, obviously the short was good in DRAM. And then we flipped it into the long, obviously the long, okay, and then out. This long, again, we're gonna have a tight stop. I should be maybe still shorting this one. Let's be honest. Like the real best trade was just taking it. It was so clean, just instantly dropping $1, right? So I don't want to sit here just continuously losing like 20, 30 cents on a stop when the big moves have been to the south side. But I feel like if this goes, and SMCI is probably going to go as well. We're going to Adara. It's already 10:40.
Wow, is it actually?
It is 10:40. Time for 10:40 is Sector Watch.
Okay.
Yeah, saying the performance on the sector board is mixed might actually be an understatement. You've got weakness in finance, consumer non-durables, transportation, consumer durables, process industries, and health technology. But then if you look at a lot of these bigger sectors like electronic technology and tech services, you start to see that divergence that I was talking about. So you've got Apple down 9% on earnings, MU down 3%, SanDisk down 4%, Boeing down 4%. And then in tech services, you've got weakness in Netflix, AppLovin, Palantir. But then you've also got lots of strength in both sectors too. With tech services, all three of the Mag 7s in this sector are green, including Google, up 4.5%. Meanwhile, in electronic tech, you've got KLAC. They reported earlier this week, up 4%. Arista Networks up 4%. Marvell up 6%. Nvidia up 1%. And back to being the #1 market cap name in the world. So these tech sectors, there's a lot of divergence internally. Keep an eye on that. Producer manufacturing, I will give a little bit of a spotlight to as well. These names are all really strong today on LRCX earnings day too. Back to you.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you very much, Joe. I was just saying to Joe, like what'll happen is you get the new earnings name and you'll forget the continuation, which has just been Google's been long every single day. David Yang, Nvidia below 200 is a bargain for the long term. Well, Nvidia's been good value for a while. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to go up. That's the thing. Value doesn't have to be necessarily bought by the market. So, I mean, this was always going to be true that one of these, and I do sometimes favor having a tight stop on a long, but then having a stock that I'll prefer to the south side, and then be like, okay, well, I'll jump in with the same setup on both, but then just try to hold the one that's going to work. And if you've been watching the show, I'm probably more bearish than most on SMCI. So instead, we'll hold on to this one. Just going to get some bids out to make sure that we can take some profit on it. But what I was getting at with the whole getting distracted by Amazon is look at Alphabet. Like Alphabet, in a lot of ways, Alphabet is, I know it's not up the same percentage that Amazon is, but this is ridiculous. It's been all systems go, even when the market was bleeding, the market bounces, it's bouncing with it. So it's really dragging the market back up. It's easy to forget because of the reaction that we saw in Microsoft's earnings and the reaction that we've seen today with Amazon's earnings, that they sold off Alphabet in their strong quarter and the reaction has been buy, 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 buy.
Yeah.
So once again, oh, now Adair is going to sing bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
No, it's always give stocks that reaction, calm down or cooling off period after earnings sometimes. And then let it set a bit of a trend. Like, don't overreact to what happens on the first day. Although I say this with all due respect, sometimes maybe the actual reaction is worthwhile. I'll use Roblox as an example. Like, I would forgiven if you would overreact to this one. 29% is a different story. But in a general sense, more like the big cap tech names, you don't want to overreact to what happens on the first day. In this particular case, maybe you are panicking if you own Roblox. I suppose I would be if I had this stock too. Thank goodness I did.
We're gonna try the short here at VWAP. I just don't know how much I don't know if it's gonna work out. The reason why I took the short here is that as soon as it cracks this resistance zone, then we're out of dodge. Yeah, I mean, there it is. We missed the opportunity to the long side. Tried to see if we're gonna get anything to the opposite side, to the back down, right? But it looks like we want to break through VWAP. So yeah, a little bit of no question, without a doubt, a frustrating start, especially missing these bottoms. And that's really what I master in. So as soon as we hold above this zone here and we don't have that breakdown, then we're definitely going to have to hop out of dodge there, 50, give it about 15 cents worth of risk. And if the market wants to recover, then fantastic. We just have to find a good opportunity. I don't have the bank draft, man, unfortunately. I don't have my stream deck with me, but the Nasdaq finally find it on its road to recovery as we're right back at VWAP and 20 straight minutes.
You have Sean's up.
It does, yeah, but it doesn't work. See?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah,
I think I know why.
Adara hit the done for us.
But I have all of them. I have like.
Yeah, you got them all.
What are you trading? NVDA? I can go.
Yeah.
Can the market?
Oh, yeah, but I'm short and it's
green?
moving higher. So.
Well, I know. Well, the thing I think I always want to find is, okay, well, what's not going in the bounce?
Yeah.
The only reason I hit the market green is the Nasdaq went green. I understand a lot of times what'll happen is you'll hear us say the market. I understand. Obviously, that should mean the S&P 500, but oftentimes I'm talking about the Nasdaq. So
yeah.
I just said the market got green. The Nasdaq got green. The S&P 500 is still into the red. But sometimes you want to look at what is not going. So hopefully we get this like scalp inside of the range on SMCI.
Yeah.
I don't need that bid in there. 2 bids at the same price. Yeah, unnecessary. So we're going to scalp into this range, take out 80%, and then try to hold the last for this gap fill there. The other thing, it's going absolutely crazy all over the place. That FCUV. You cannot stop this thing. Just when you thought it was over, halts down at $12, bounces clean off the volume weighted average price, and is now halted back up at $16.15.
No way.
The only thing I'll hold against it is right now the tap, the theoretical auction price is lower at about 15.6. So it's indicating a lower open despite the fact that it is halted up. So anyone that's in this, obviously, if you've been long, you probably made money unless you bought this top. But man, if this breaks out the high. It's a habitual line stepper. Every time we show these, try to also show you guys the daily chart, which indicates the usual history of people that try to hold on to this too long. But for day one, fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to get out of this one here, right? I just don't think that Bowman looked good out there. I seen the Nasdaq rip, and this was lagging a little bit. So I'm like, let's just get it before we get our top ripped off here. Let's just get out of NVDA. So without any question, tougher start to today. Yesterday was pretty good. We were trading NVDA. Wanted it off the lows. Didn't get that opportunity. With that being said, I think it's time for us to head over to small cap land. And we'll just keep the Nasdaq and the SPY in the corner of our eye, and we'll allow these big cap names to do what they're going to do on today's session. The Apple looking really good for a breakdown here, Travman. So hopefully you get that, but let's head over to our scanner and see if there's anything really intriguing when it comes to these small cap trades. A high of the day potential break here in FCUV. We're heading right back up in towards that neck of the woods, so watch out. This could be one of those names that go on absolutely insane runners, so let's keep an eye out on this one. Should have been trading it right from the get-go this morning. I was like, Neil, watch out for this $5 break on this bad boy. And after that, oh no, this is disastrous, Neil.
That's actually not... Direct quote was, it's going to break $5.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't the watch out for the 5. It's going to break $5.
It's going
and
to.
then I called it up, and it was at 683.
Moved $3.
I can actually picture
really
the level too. I looked at him like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean? It's at 683. He's like, when he said it, it was at probably 450.
Yeah, well,
the pre-market's just a different beast when it comes to those, though. And when those things initially get the news and they're running in the pre-market, you have to understand what's going on with Tesla. You have to understand that because there's so liquidity and you can't halt, then it's just a completely different beast. And as quickly as it goes up $2, like that could have been in the other direction on that news. You do have to be careful trading those in the pre. Yeah, Tesla is catching a huge bid here. We're going to go up to ADBE in a quick little second. Maybe it's technical, but Tesla through VWAP just bounced $3. Looks like it's even accelerating a little bit here.
Oh, really?
I'm not really seeing. We're going to go up to ADBE for money talks, but I'm pulling up the cues just so you can see not much to the upside, but something clearly going on with Tesla. ADBE?
Yeah. I was going to say, Neil, it's not just Tesla. IBM's doing something pretty similar from what I saw. I just happened to have them up because they had a pretty minor story with Accenture and banking. So yeah, it is non-Tesla stocks as well. I'm not seeing any news yet. If that changes, I'll keep you guys posted. Let's keep an eye here on the US dollar trying to break its 3-day losing streak, trying to find some support around yesterday's low, around that 99.8 level. We were briefly, as of yesterday and a little bit earlier this morning, back below 100. Right now we're back above 100, trading around 100.18. Let's take a look at the University of Michigan consumer sentiment prints. We had better than expected University of Michigan consumer sentiment for that final print for July, 55.2 versus the estimate of 54. And 5-year inflation and 1-year inflation in line with estimates, so 3.3% for 5-year, 4.2% for the 1 year. Now, speaking of inflation, we had these prepared statements released by all 3 of the dissenting Fed members: Hammack, Logan, Kashkari. All 3 of these individuals, they were the 3 in the 9-3 vote to hold rates. All 3 of them voted to raise rates by 25 basis points. That vote didn't go through. But basically, the commonality, the thread that I found through all their statements, and I read all 3, this is especially true of Hammack's and Logan's statements, is that they're concerned if they don't raise rates now, as you start to see signs of inflation creep, then they're going to have to take much more drastic actions and impact the economy to a greater degree when rates inevitably have to be raised farther down the line. So I thought that was an interesting argument. And even if you want to think of the inverse of this, think about that surprise rate cut that we got September 18th, 2024 of 50 basis points. That was a bit of a shock. I think they're trying to avoid that on the rate hike side by voting for that hike now. So I thought that was an interesting look. Either way, we are still expecting that 25 basis point hike to come at that September meeting. Right now, you've got a 65% chance of that. If you look forward at the probabilities, you are seeing we're going to get a hike in September and then also in December as well. That's just according to the CME Fed Watch tool. That's what people are pricing in. We'll have to wait and see if that actually happens. Back to you.
Thank you, ADBE. And Sharif just came back, and the first thing he says, we're not getting a hike. Look, man, ADBE's just saying what the market is pricing in. That's absolutely true. But I'm kind of with. I think there's other tools. I've said it before. I actually think it's. I think the balance sheet, aggressive action with the balance sheet, and letting it run off is probably the first step. And until that happens, I don't know about hikes. But just very quickly, when I looked over and saw that move up in Tesla, and then started seeing like volume pick up elsewhere, wasn't sure what was going on. But if I can just get out break even, I don't want to be sitting here. Look, I thought SNCI was a short today, so I wanted to stick with it. But I'll just get out, let it get into VWAP. It's worked pretty cleanly so far in here today. But what's interesting is what is not going in the move. All of a sudden, Apple, it was one little bounce into VWAP. Apple's still down 9%. It's just not catching any more of a bid. This is looking pretty weak. If 300 breaks, I think you've got some serious trouble here for Apple. So it held to 300, then it held to 301, and it's continuing to go. You've already seen Google. You've already seen Amazon. We already know those are going higher. Nvidia 200, that's got to be something for potential breakout later here today. We'll see.
You think
kind of running out of steam before it's getting there, but it's a double top at the 200, which makes a little bit of sense for a bit of a press through. So that'll be one place I'm watching.
I have my eyes on FCUV. Never mind what price action is doing.
Almost halted.
Like, yeah, I know. It almost halted to the downside. I have my eyes on the tape, and what I'm looking for is that wave of participants to step in order for me to punch and hopefully get that move in towards the high of the day. So that's what I'm looking for right now within FCUV. We're not getting that turnaround that I'm looking for, all right? So you can see the waves, hit the bid. There we go. We're taking an additional flush. But there, oh, wow, that was hectic. Tape 101 straight to the downside right there. Bang, flush. Oh, they're gone, Sharif. It's over for them. They're non-existent anymore. The longs, that is this time, brother. Yeah, down to 1153. Hitting the halt band. Hits the halt band. Let's see. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're not halted just yet, but that's all right. We're gonna halt. There it is, bang, halted to the downside. 1153 on FCUV. Keep an eye out on this one. Looks like at this pace, Neil, you're right. You hit that one bang on, brother. That we're heading towards that high of the day in that $200 supply zone on NVDA. So let's see if that can happen here on today's intraday session. Well, I shouldn't say forever, but for the foreseeable future and then some, I like NVDA, especially around these lower prices.
Well, I think it's the value proposition that Nvidia is giving you. Like you make a direct comparison to them and Intel, and it's hard from any kind of fundamental aspect to say that Nvidia is not way better value. Like you look at Intel's fastest growing sector, and Nvidia was 30% better in the same vein, and you're getting them cheaper. And plus, you're also getting Nvidia just having the entire stack and keeping everybody on data. And then if they get China open, they have even more. But price doesn't lie. Someone just said in the chat, Neil, BM&R is at VWAP. No, it's not. But I did say I was pivoting from IBIT to BM&R short, so it got close. There's a topping tail candle. It actually broke the low, so I'm going to jump in here. And again, if I'm not shorting it VWAP, look at that level. It's yesterday's opening range low, so that's a good one to play off of. I can give it to that 90. We're going up to the desk with Adair. We got 5 more minutes. Well, I got 5 more minutes.
Yeah, you got
Joey Options filling in for Sean, but he's also going to go over there and hit the midday. Maybe trade some FCU.
Was that a shot there? Or?
No, I'm giving you credit for putting in work. You
had to emphasize I got 5 more minutes. You know what I mean?
That's just a truthful observation.
Messing around with you, man.
I gotta go digest those cookies.
Yeah, I mean, you crushed 3 of them. 4. Neil had 4. I didn't have any.
Okay, so for those that didn't hear, Sharif was just like, "You had cookies." As if I don't always eat the oatmeal raisin cookies.
Dude, every time I'm eating, I feel so guilty when we get pizza because I feel like Sharif in the corner of his eye is just keeping it. He's like, Joe, what are you doing there? It's the carb police, man.
I ate the cookies.
It's real. You think it's a joke around here. You have to, like, I'll be sneaking going to eat a croissant or something because Sharif, no, I'm obviously joking.
Being straight up, we're going to go to Darren in a second.
Yeah.
The easy way to know that I've been like abducted by aliens or like kidnapped or something and they're forcing me to say stuff is if I turn down like an apple fritter or like an oatmeal raisin cookie or enjoy pineapple on pizza. then you know something has happened. Crazy. And that's the code, right? You guys see that, then call somebody.
How many cookies you have today, Randy? 4. My guy Randy,
4?
Man. Yeah, this guy's up there.
No, I already had 3. I'm good. I gotta eat lunch too. Let's go to Adair before we get out of hand here.
Let's talk about the Nasdaq because we kept talking about 5 minutes, but in 4 minutes, U.S. President Trump will be taking the podium. I mean, he might be late, but lately he's been quite punctual. So expect him at 11 a.m. for a cabinet meeting held from Camp David. Now let's talk about these cabinet meetings. These used to be 3-hour-long affairs where each cabinet member would do a little bit of talking, a little bit of Q&A with the president, and then everybody would have a larger Q&A with the press. He has tried to make these a lot shorter, given how long these earlier meetings were. So the last couple of meetings, they've been market moving, some of them, especially if there's going to be any comments on oil. There was an attempt to move the Sharpie maker stock at one of the recent cabinet meetings as well, with a lot of talk about Sharpies and pens. So really anything can happen at a Trump cabinet meeting, but a lot of them do end up being market moving in one way or another. Again, very likely if you mention something about oil and Iran, so just be aware. We'll be here to cover that for you guys, Sia and myself. That'll be starting, again, potentially as early as 3 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Thank you, as always.
There was an aggressive pullback, Neil, there on NVDA, but then look at the volume step right back in and push price back up.
Good call. Thank you, X2C, for the super chat. Hey, Burry's made a lot of calls that have worked out. Short Palantir. I think the Nvidia probably worked out for him as well. But is he right about Flutter? I don't know. I'm not long Flutter, and I'm not Michael Burry. What I can tell you, his Substack is making boats. He's making a ton on that.
Yeah, he's using all that money
for
to
sure.
short.
I mean, Flutter. The good news for any stock that's downward trending is at least it's made a bottom. So I guess he finds that appealing. He likes the space because he likes DraftKings as well, but it hasn't done anything off of these lows. When you're looking at a trade from a trader's perspective, like I'm not thinking fundamentals. I'm thinking about show me the higher low. Accumulation is there. Like when Intel was accumulating at $19, I was willing to buy that because like twofold. The US government was buying it and I already liked Intel's story. So then I see accumulation on the bottom and I'm a buyer. But if I don't like it fundamentally, then I want to see it break out. I want to see it make the low. I want to see it break out, hold major moving averages. It's still downward sloping and all that good stuff. So yeah, obviously Flutter has been nasty, but good luck. Hopefully, I don't wish ill will to anybody. I want everybody to succeed. I will always default to that's a long position, so I always want stuff to go up. If you're gonna sit there and you're short something that I'm in, I'll be like, I'm gonna go boo when you short Caterpillar, but it's not because I want some other dude to lose money or I want to hate on them. I don't play those games. Alphabet continues to be an absolute monster. It's now 5.5%. I feel like what happened here is everyone overreacted on day one to Alphabet. And then as we got Microsoft and as we've now got Amazon, we're like, hey, this space is all running and the cloud is absolutely fine. They're all generating enough revenue.
Sorry, bro.
And it's a bit of a sea change for them. All of that being said, Google still hasn't broken the downtrend. That's the amazing thing. You got 6 days in a row to the upside, and we haven't even broken the downtrend. I will do this, but it's a bit of a spoiler because we already said this. I know. Well, we already know, and we already said what it is for lunch. So we're going to fire over to the midday in a quick little second here. We're all going to get tacos. I'm going to get up and go get my tacos, which should be delicious. We'll enjoy those. I'll probably have a salad on the side. I didn't actually see what the rest of it is. Hopefully everyone enjoys the middle of their day. The president's going to be speaking, so do be aware. You never really know. Watch out for oil futures. Maybe he says something about clarity. I have no idea. Maybe he says something about China. You just have to be prepared for all contingencies. Adara is going to make sure you're abreast of the news, as will the midday boys, and I believe if C is here as well. So we'll see you back at 2 o'clock. For now, it's Joey Options putting in the work all day. It is Sharif the Professor. It's the midday madness, and good luck on FCUV.